Or you can keep it the whole time.
What is going on, Alamo City Movie Talk fans? Hopefully everyone's having a great Saturday, guys. As always, I am your host, Ryan D, aka Ryan680.
And this is Black, back at it again, guys.
And it's Angela.
And ladies and gentlemen, we've been talking about this. Me and Angela, we've been doing reviews, reaction videos, and everything. We've been talking about this all week, guys, and we have it here first. The one and only, the Nerd Colosseum are here, guys. First ever live video, by the way, right?
Yeah, this is actually.
Oh, nice.
We did one with another podcast, people.
Oh. No. Oh, nice. But yeah, how y'all feeling today? How's everything going?
Pretty good. We've been looking forward to this for a while.
Yeah.
The movies.
Ready
Excited about to talk about these four.
Yeah, it's been a while, right? What was the last episode you can recall that you guys had on y'all?
It was last October.
Yeah.
So,
Oh wow, dang!
we
So a whole
moved
year.
from New Orleans, Louisiana to here. San Antonio.
No. Oh, nice. Dead.
We
Texas.
still love we still love you.
But nice. But yeah, guys. So we've been saying this nonstop in the Alamo City Movie Talk page, YouTube page, and everything. And if you have not already, guys, be sure to like and subscribe. We are talking about these horror films. A great layout that Trey himself actually came up with for us and everything. And so it definitely was an eye opener on the selections. I wasn't prepared for any of those selections, by the way. But yeah, stay tuned, guys. Let's get right to it. And Trey, without further ado, man, this is your show now, brother. What's going on?
I'm Frankie. This is
Kristen.
We are from, as you said, the Nerd Colosseum Podcast. So a little bit of what we do, if you haven't seen our show before or heard our show before on any of the podcasting channels, we usually take movies, TV shows, anything from pop culture. We have them verse each other, hence the Colosseum. So all these pop culture properties become the gladiators, and they battle it out for the number one title. We throw in some random categories where they use to verse it and take on each other with. So it's not our opinion all the time. It's mostly based on just luck of the draw and see how it's going to go with them.
And we've had some really interesting matchups. We've had Toy Story 2 go up against what was
The Sixth Sense.
The Sixth Sense.
Wow. Wow.
Categories. It'll be categories like which one had better soundtrack, or which one had better costumes, or which one had
Special effects.
So it's all completely random. So it's not really which movie is better. It's which movie in this particular category was better. So
yeah, usually we go 3-4 rounds. Each round they get awarded a point. Movie, TV show, pop culture, whatever it is. But the most points in an episode they're the one that won the episode.
Oh, okay.
that's
Interesting.
cool.
Has there been one that you recall being like a landslide? Like one was like a definite like. I'm sorry for putting you in the spot.
No, maybe it was from
There has been some
heartbreaks.
Yeah, there's been some heartbreaks, and there has been some that we were a little bit biased on.
Yeah,
I think the one that was hardest for us was The Matrix versus Star Wars
That's
Episode
exactly
1.
the one I was thinking of.
And The Matrix
because
versus The
it
Mummy.
was-
Those were very hard episodes to do.
That one was
Okay.
The Matrix versus Star Wars was like which one had the better soundtrack and which one had
yeah.
better costumes.
Yeah.
And so it was really hard because
Yeah.
it's like John Williams, but also The Matrix has an
Yeah.
incredible soundtrack. And then costume wise, you have the entire, it was episode 1, Star Wars
Yeah.
episode 1. So you have the entire wardrobe of Queen Amidala
Yeah.
versus
Wow. What the heck?
Versus
like
all that leather and the
all the leather,
yeah,
which
all the-
started a fashion
The
trend, which was
sunglasses.
our argument. But
Yeah.
so there's been some heartbreaks and some
That's
like,
awesome.
interesting matchups.
Great stuff there.
All right, I guess we'll get on to with these 4 heavy hitters, or horror heavyweights, if you will.
Yeah.
So this is probably going to be a little weird for you guys watching live. So this is just going to be like the recorded section. So if you listen to the episode October 7th, it's going to like make a lot more sense as to why we are reading this little little bit right here.
Spooky
short
seasons.
piece,
Yeah.
scripted,
Starter.
just to introduce everything, and then we'll get to our conversation.
We'll get into the discussions.
Yeah.
All righty. So hey there, pop culture gladiators. You've just stepped into the Nerd Colosseum Podcast.
Here, movies, TV shows, and basically every pop culture titan you can think of clash in the most epic showdowns you've ever heard. Get ready for a spine-tingling 4-part podcast showdown. By the finale, we'll unveil the champion of our horror heavyweight throwdown.
Ready to find out the contenders in the arena? Let's unveil the 4 movies with our friends from Alamo City Movie Talk.
Man, you better hold on to those crucifix, maybe sprinkle some holy water. The Exorcist 1970, the OG scariest film ever in history. It's been ranked at one of the top scariest films ever.
Yep.
Very interesting, but yeah, excited for that.
Ready for some chilling hotel hospitality? It next is The Shining, 1980, classic thriller movie.
Let's throw it back with some VHS nostalgia coming your way. Just maybe skip the mysterious phone call. We have The Ring, specifically the US version, came out in 2002.
And then last, we're going to deep dive into a twisted family tree. And I hope you don't find any skeletons there. We're talking about Hereditary from 2018.
So who's the horror weight champion that's going to be from our pop culture? Well, over our next 3 episodes, we're going to be using our wild spinning wheel of chance. We're going to whirl and twirl, toss out those zany categories to determine the victor. But now buckle up, because now we need to introduce Alamo City Movie Talk to the Nerd Colosseum gladiators.
Well, my social security is
Wait. I need to type this out. Go ahead.
one.
Nice. I'm Ryan D. A. Ryan 680. We've been doing this show for quite a bit. It's been quite a while here. It's been a joy, and yeah, we just talk movie. We actually do current movie reviews and everything, and we're excited to be on here because you guys do theme podcasts, which is something that we've always wanted to do, but just never had the expertise like you guys. So yeah,
thanks.
Thank you. Definitely, yeah. And
Yeah.
then Lex.
And hi, this is Lex. I originally, I was doing my own podcast with a good friend named Josh called Not in Theaters. And a lot of what we were doing is coming up with like scenarios that don't exist, therefore the name like Not in Theaters. Like what if Mr. Miyagi had like his solo origin movie and things like that, and we would really break it down. One thing we weren't doing in that podcast that I started partnering up with Ryan on was like reviews, which is also something I like enjoying. Actually, Not in Theaters started as a discussion with me and my friend who's the co-host about what we thought of a movie, right? So a lot of the conversation, inspiration, and all that comes from a review. And so started embarking on this journey, and started guesting, becoming more frequent as a host and things like that. So yeah, it's been a joyride.
Yeah.
And last but not least, I'm Pat Kelly Dange, and I am just here for the ride.
That's my wife. Yeah. So I was all like, without further ado, I was like, what the heck, she started coming along with me, and there were just certain things that I was like, you know what, I bet you a different point of view, you know, and that's the beautiful thing about movies. You know, maybe I like a movie a certain way, maybe she likes a movie a certain way, and it's great because you get all different opinions and everything. And we're for it here at the Alamo City Movie Talk Studios. We're not for putting someone down just because you enjoy a movie that's underrated or maybe underappreciated or maybe just over the top with jokes, which I'm not a fan with. But hey, prove me wrong. That's all I'm saying. Prove me wrong. Make me like your movie. That's all I'm saying. But yeah, it's always been a blast here, and I gotta say it's exciting because it's been a long time pre-COVID since we had a live show in person. Usually we're doing them on StreamYard.
And this topic is really cool considering that tomorrow's officially October. I think it's fitting.
Kicking it off.
Season.
Definitely for horror fans and everything. And so I'm excited for October. Then it's my birthday Monday, so October 2nd. So October's the month, right? I think you're in October, right?
Well, mine's October 7th. So
there you go.
This is when this is going to be, you know, people are going to be listening to this.
Birthday.
And
Happy birthday in the future.
Right now. Time travel's real. But
exciting. All right.
So we kind of talked about it getting in the intro. So normally we do like zany categories where the movies face off against each other. So we're not really doing that this time. It's more of an open discussion with these 4 movies.
Yeah.
But we still wanted to incorporate a game of some kind that we can play with ourselves. So the one that we came up with was 4 Truths and a Lie that we'll play for each movie. So I'll read 5 statements to you guys about the movie.
Okay.
And then one of them will be a lie. So you are trying to determine which one's the lie. And
no cheating.
I haven't seen him either, so Frankie is the only one that knows the answer.
Nice.
I'm gonna
honestly, I didn't look at that portion of the breakdown, and so I honestly misinterpreted as us playing that. Did you look some truths and one lie? That's what I thought.
I
like the movie concept better because I don't think I could have convinced people that I have 2 pinkies. I think we're good with the movie.
I totally missed that part. I'm not gonna lie.
But that's good because then I don't know the answer, so I'm excited about it.
I'm excited. You got me unprepared, man, for the first time ever. And Lex, how prepared am I for all of our movie talk shows? That's what I'm saying. I'm always 110% prepared, and finally, I'm all like, "You got me off guard."
Well, time to improvise.
I love movie fun facts. I thought this was a fun way to do it, where people who are watching right now can kind of guess along and play along with us. So, just to demo it, when we get to each movie, the 5 things I'm going to read about are going to be that specific movie. But right now, I'll kind of just mix it together. So, I'll read 5 statements right now, and you guys can determine which one is the truth, which one's the lie.
Yeah.
So, all right.
Okay.
First one. This is for The Exorcist.
Who goes first, I guess?
No, I'll read the 5 statements.
We'll be a team.
We're all team effort.
Okay.
All right, we're against you.
I guess.
He's like the dungeon master of movie trivia right now.
Okay. All right.
Do you want to play a game?
All right. Nice.
All right. So, The Exorcist. The film used subliminal imagery to increase the sense of terror. Images of the demon Pazuzu's face were inserted into frames to create a disturbing effect that audiences could feel, but not always consciously recognize. All right, this one's for The Shining. The famous Here's Johnny scene took only 3 takes to film. Jack Nicholson, being a professional, managed to nail the iconic moment quickly. This one's for The Ring. The creepy, distorted faces of the cursed videotape's victims were inspired by an actual medical condition where the afflicted cannot sleep until they die. And this one's for Hereditary. The clicking noise made by the character Charlie is now used in sleep disorder clinics to trigger insomnia for study purposes because it's found to be universally unsettling. So, 4 of these are true. 1 of these is a lie. Which one do you think is the lie?
I feel like the Shining one is true because
I feel like that's true.
That's true.
I kind of agree. That's true.
Well, can we reread that one? Because is it that the entire movie?
No, just the scene.
Okay,
Here's Johnny.
I believe that one. Then.
Yeah, I believe that one.
I believe that one.
I thought all his takes.
He's done the Joker.
Yeah.
I mean,
He's a professional. He's the man.
Yeah, he is. I believe the Exorcist one.
I do too.
I do too.
Yeah,
Just
same
because
here. Same here.
That sounds like
that
something.
sounds-
That's the reason why I haven't been able
the
to
little
finish
meshing
it.
works.
Because The Ring's my least favorite. I mean, it's kind of like less cringe moments. I'm gonna go with I don't know. I kind of
I'm
lean towards the ring.
I'm between that
The
one and
Ring?
the Hereditary.
I think it's
Hereditary.
the Hereditary.
Because I don't know
one.
if
Wait,
the
what was the
clicking noise.
What was the Hereditary one again? I'm
So the
sorry.
Hereditary one is they use the clicking noise that the character Charlie did in the movie in sleep disorder clinics as study purposes because it's universally unsettling.
I don't know.
To
the
make
eight-
them
And it keeps
to make
people
them have
awake.
insomnia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A24 though, dude. I mean, the way she
I-
looked. I mean, I don't know because
I don't feel like
A20.
that's legal.
I mean,
It sounds like a Soviet
I mean-
Russian sleep experiment or something.
because the way
You know, I agree with you. I don't think that's legal.
I mean,
What
if
was
it's-
what was the ring one again?
Yeah, sure. So the creepy, distorted faces of the cursed videotapes victims were inspired by actual medical condition where the afflicted cannot sleep until they die.
I believe that
I
one
believe that.
too.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm gonna go with the Hereditary.
Yeah. Are we
I-
all?
I have not done an insomnia thing. I have done a sleep study, and there was already a lot of paperwork behind that. I
Yeah.
feel like to consent to like, hey, we're gonna do this clicking thing. Like,
I feel like that's not legal.
yeah. So I'm gonna go with that one, Hereditary. as a
Okay,
team,
so
I
you
think
guys
that's
are all going
I
to
think we're all
Hereditary.
in Hereditary.
Yeah.
All right, it's.
I'm gonna go with the ring.
Okay.
I didn't believe. I wasn't for Hereditary.
We looked at each other and
I was-
you didn't say anything.
Only y'all. Okay, I'm sorry, guys, on the audio because everyone's probably like, "Oh my god, you guys are
They're like,
like, we're like,
Jesus.
you guys are laughing."
He just waited.
No. I was like, go, because Kristen looked at me. I was like, okay. I was like, I don't know. I didn't say yes. I was just like,
Well,
I just gave the look like, okay, maybe. I don't know.
well, Frank,
what
Frankie
is-
was
what is
about
it?
to drop it.
All right, so the
It's the
actual
ring.
answer is it's The Shining.
No.
That was the first one. We were like,
We gave Jack Nicholson some well-deserved
Wow.
credit,
Yeah.
but
Wow, too
overly
much
Well,
credit.
he
He did
probably
it in one
Johnny.
he probably did nail it in one take. Well, here's Johnny line is it was improv.
Yeah,
Anyway,
that was
yeah,
improv.
yeah.
but
I know that.
it's widely known that Stanley Kubrick asked for a lot of takes, whether it was perfectly recorded or not. So that's why that one is not true. It actually took a lot of time and effort to do that scene.
that's interesting. Okay.
Yeah,
Kind of fast.
yeah, you
We
tricked
have
me.
failed.
Yeah.
That was the first one. We
Honestly, it's just like all the movies have like some sense of like. Wait, can we curse on the show?
Yeah, I'll just put a dolphin sound over it.
That's totally, no. Well, like all these films obviously have like a fucked upness to how horrifying they are.
Oh,
And they
yeah,
have those
definitely.
elements. So everything else that you mentioned was like super believable. So like the actual technical element of making a movie, like it flew under the radar. Because everything else was like, yeah, these
makes
movies
sense.
scared the crap out of me. So
I
yes.
agree. I think so. Before we get into the first movie, which will be The Exorcist, I think so. This whole week, I watched all of them to prepare for this because I've seen them before, obviously. But I think to best describe, these movies are like a fine dining experience when it comes to movie going, and they're not
What
like
kind of
like a slasher
dinners
film, you
are
know, like
going to-
it's not the fast food horror movie experience. It's very it's very tasteful.
Well,
There's a lot
yeah.
of thought that goes into
Yeah.
like the
I
characters.
was gonna say because
Yeah.
like, what kind of food are you talking about?
Yeah.
I couldn't hold on to like my popcorn and
It's
stuff in
gotta
a lot of
be.
these, but
It's got to be a rare steak. I mean,
Yeah.
they're very bloody.
Yeah.
bloody.
They're
gotta
very
be rare.
tasteful.
No, but I get
and
you.
There's
Well-
a reason why these movies are
Yeah.
what they
they're
are.
well crafted
Yeah, I like
and you know they kind of do some world building, right? Like I
Yeah.
think all of them
Yeah.
share a lot of that.
Oh hell yeah, 110% they do. I mean, they create their own. I mean, it's in its own right. I kind of feel like A24 has really have that huge resume of films to where like they could technically create their own multiverse of horror if they wanted to.
Yeah.
With the great stuff they come out with and everything.
Kind of
But
like what Blumhouse does, or
Yeah.
like the
Yeah,
Conjuring
yeah, the
universe. and all-
Con-
yeah.
yeah. Which is crazy because James Wong's actually moving all his all his creativity stuff. He's moving all his horror knowledge to Blumhouse. He cut a deal with them. So,
okay.
Oh.
yeah,
That's pretty
so
cool.
no longer which is sad because I'm all like
Warner
I liked him
Brothers.
with Warner Brothers and New Line Cinema because he was
Yeah.
creating that whole Conjuring. He's created, if you don't know James Wan, guys, you have to check out his movies. Saw's. I mean, he starts franchises. That's what he
Best
does.
movie of all time, Aquaman.
Yeah.
Just kidding. Best James Wan movie ever.
Wait.
Sorry, all right, we're getting off topic. Back to The Exorcist as our first movie. Who's doing this synopsis?
Why don't you do that one? That one's
Yeah.
your bread and butter.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I got off the spot. So I wasn't prepared. I thought somebody else was going to do it. But okay, so The Exorcist, what I liked about this movie and what it's really about is religion and science coming together, but also opposing each other when they're trying to diagnose a young girl named Reagan, who has become very sick, and her mom, who is a famous movie star. She's a single mom. She doesn't really know what to do. She's seeking all the help from medical professionals. They don't know what to do. They send her over to the church. The church tries to send her back to the medical people. So what comes down to happening is these two priests come to help. One is a psychiatrist, so he's very science-backed, and he's having trouble with his own faith with the church. But the other priest, he's much older. He's traveled around the world, and he's done exorcisms, and he's dealt with this according to the prequels and sequels that have come out later on. He's dealt with demonic possession before. So you have these two priests who are, they don't really have the same philosophies, but they're here to help this girl who is actually possessed by a demon.
Okay. Yeah. And it's definitely OG little story here. I saw it at a very young age, and it still creeps me out. I know, Lex, you're the same way. I know we talked about it off camera.
Yeah,
it definitely have to go to church after that. Definitely. I definitely and crazy guys. If you haven't known already, I don't think we fully announced it. Moviegoer fans out there, that we will actually be reviewing the next start of a revamped of the franchise, The Exorcist. It's actually a 3-part movie. It's going to be a series that Universal announced and everything. So they're actually doing 3 of them. And this, it's The Believer, The Exorcist, The Believer, and then I believe I think if I'm not mistaken, don't quote me on that, but I think it's Receiver as a second one, and then they haven't announced the third one yet. So it's still untitled, but there is a plan for a trilogy out of this. So yeah, I mean, I'm hoping it's good. I'm hoping it's great, but we see that this Tuesday, guys. So stay tuned for that.
I think it's cool that. So this movie came out in the 70s, and it's still inspiring sequels today. And now it's actually inspiring an entire new franchise with Universal. So that alone tells you the impact I think that this movie's had. But are there any personal experiences that you guys had with watching this movie that maybe you remember, or you had to turn it off, or you just couldn't finish it? Like, what was this movie for you?
Just avoiding it. And I don't like mind sharing this, but like I've never finished it. I can't. Like, I just haven't tried it in my adult life.
At what point do you turn it off?
I just don't. If someone else is watching it, like,
so if
and
I put
I'm
it on
passing
right now?
by it, that's as much as I'll get through it. Like, if it's like, because I can't tell someone to turn off what they're playing or whatever, but just actively I don't recall me actively watching it. I think I saw one of the sequels, which in my opinion weren't very good, and those for some reason didn't have that shock to me, but the first one's always the one that I have like an aspect of it that I just can't sit down, play and watch from beginning to end. So I don't even recall which part. Obviously I think the staircase scene is pretty freaky to me, so I think that one like kind of takes the shock. But I think another part of like the trauma was that as a kid, growing up, I didn't have YouTube for most of it, but like a teenager and things like that, getting into the early days of YouTube and stuff like that, the YouTube videos were played with a lot of pop-ups. If you guys remember, like there was just this culture of a lot of videos. Could have been something jump scare.
I remember that. Yeah.
Papa's jump scared, and a lot of them used the face of the Exorcist, Reagan, and it was always like shock and awe. Like it was usually like a loud scream and whatever, and the face getting close to you, or it would actually be the Exorcist kind of like hanging out in a room in the back and then quickly jumping to the very front of the screen. There was also like that video game that you see kids little play. It's like a little maze runner like video game and things like that, and then the face pops up. Like it's really cruel, and I've seen it. Like you got to teach them young. Like so the internet was played with this, and that gave me a lot of trauma to even just kind of stay away from the movie altogether. You know? So
You just like
That's-
triggered that memory for me because I
Yeah.
yeah, like having flashbacks
It's-
of all the like, look at this picture. Can you see the?
Yeah.
And then like, yeah.
I'm just so glad like it was
Yeah.
a phase, because now it's like, okay, I can safely click on this review of like an iPhone, you know, like it's like I'm okay with playing this video on YouTube now, because it's like, you know, but back then I was like, this video of like bunnies and dogs playing, like, I don't trust it, you know, like it really put me
Oh,
on that
man.
mode. So that's
Yeah.
kind of my share of the Exorcist. It was the Exorcist in particular.
Early
Yeah.
YouTube trauma.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
I will say though,
Dude.
I didn't watch this when I was a child. I know you mentioned you watched it when you were younger.
Yeah.
I watched it for the first time, I think a couple years ago as an adult, and I
God
still
bless.
think it's crazy how it's been like 50 years,
Yeah.
and the effects are still so chilling. Like it's really
Yeah.
cool that it's kind of stood the test of time, and it still scares
Oh,
people.
yeah.
Like my dad has told me when he saw it in theaters, he's like, yeah, no, people were walking out. Like it was so
Yeah.
scary at the
I
time,
just think
and
of
it's
that-
still like that now.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
even more so at that time was that, you know, they never saw, you know, horror or like cinema reach that impactness. I kind of feel like we were like they're just movies, but at that point in time, even more so maybe later in the years, was that the fact that, you know, cinema wasn't really an experience per se. You know, it was kind of just
Or at least in the
movies-
genre.
yeah, yeah.
Because obviously
And
there's movies like
yeah. And now though, movies, we look for that movie experience. We look for that in Avengers Endgame. We look for that in certain films, Oppenheimer, Barbie. I mean, we kind of know what to expect out of it now, more so. But at that time though, they didn't know what to expect. Just like, that's why Star Wars was so great too. I
Yeah.
mean, it was just
Yeah, but
unrealistic.
It becomes a shared
Yeah.
experience where it's
Yeah.
elevated more than just a movie going experience.
Yeah.
There's something attached to it. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think the only thing that comes close to The Exorcist before The Exorcist was probably Psycho in 19.
Oh,
you know,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
when was the original? I don't recall, and we could always look it up. But also, when was Omen after, like the very first Omen movie?
Oh, the
was that-
Omen movie?
1976.
Yeah, I think it was
Ooh.
after. Omen
Okay.
was after.
Okay, yeah, because that's another one. I don't think
Yeah.
it's to the same level for sure, but it's a lot of that. I think it started a trend, and also like you said, the effects and the test of time. I think it's also the practicality of it that's
So-
kind of scary.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Good thing you mentioned that. So fun fact. So June 25th, 1976, The Omen came out. And can you believe this? I think this was even more scarier, more creative on the marketing side. The Exorcist, guess what the release date was?
Was it also June 25th?
Nope.
Or
It
Was
was
it like sick?
Christmas.
Oh,
That
that is
Wow.
Okay.
Okay.
Christmas.
Yeah.
What
That-
brave.
What
That's
did
a fun movie to
They
see
do
with
on
your
purpose.
family.
Yeah. This is a great Christmas movie. Oh yeah, definitely.
Oh
and,
man.
and that is the Christmas, or I guess the morning after Christmas that people prayed the most.
Yeah.
Bibles were going off the shelves.
Go to church.
Yeah, people went
Yeah.
to church.
Rewatching this movie again this week, this movie is dense. It's heavy.
Yeah.
And I think what's neat about this one is compared to, let's say, Exorcist movies of today, like they're very like over the top and crazy. This one still tried to ground itself in reality, and it was also respectful to the medical community, but also it tried to say, like, even the church was like, you know, this is not something that we do anymore.
Yeah.
And that's part of the struggle of the movie. So I loved how it approached this in such a practical way and made it as realistic as possible. And to touch on what you said about the special effects, obviously not being CGI, I think added to that magic of that, you know, of
Yeah.
the whole experience.
No, definitely did.
And then the rumors that things happened on set, people died,
Yeah.
and strange things happened.
And I think,
That's-
and this one,
that's-
I don't know if this was just like a folktale, but like I remember hearing that the actress herself, the actress that played Reagan, had to do like some heavy therapy, and she actually dealt with some issues after the fact.
I
I don't know if that's a fact.
I believe
though, but-
it's because some of the dialogue that she has to say, and she's very young
Yeah.
in the movie, and obviously if you're possessed by a demon, the demon's not going to hold back any punches, but
Yeah.
the dialogue that she has in the movie and the things that she has
Yeah.
to say, even for a young person, it's very vulgar. Like
Yeah.
it's crazy. Like I was watching it, and even today, like her lines have shock value, and what she's having to do as an actress, it was like shocking. Like
Yeah.
I'll not talk about it on the podcast because it's more of a family friendly podcast, but there was some stuff where I was just like, sheesh. usually okay.
Yeah, no,
Caution.
it just has this mythos around it, right? Like
Mhm.
even if some of those tales are not true, like they're totally believable
Well,
because of
Well, one of the fun facts, guys, I did look it up while you guys were talking, was that, get this. So the actual, and I kind of knew this, but I just wanted to fact check myself on that, was the fact that that whole house scene, you know, when he shows up, that whole gray and white scene, the house actually got caught on fire, except Reagan's room. Everything burned except Reagan. Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah. Isn't that weird? I mean, completely unharmed, unburned. I mean, if that doesn't say creepy, I mean, I don't know what does.
Something's going on.
Yeah.
I guess two
Yeah.
things. Did you want to say anything about the movie?
I have not watched this movie.
Good for you.
I will preface this by saying I am not a horror movie fan. So I'm going to have interesting inputs to some
Yeah.
of these movies. But this is a movie I have extremely avoided for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
Thank you for now making sure that I will never watch this movie.
You traumatized her.
Yeah, no, but I remember like my dad like watching it and like walking in on certain scenes. Like I do remember the staircase scene, and I remember like the scene where her head spins or something and she like vomits everywhere. And I was like, no, I'm good. That's enough for me. And I walked away.
Yeah, I think so. Just two things that I wanted to say before we move on. The soundtrack, like the theme of The Exorcist, I
Yeah.
love it.
Oh,
and
yeah.
so when we saw the
Yeah.
trailer to the new Exorcist movie coming out, I was like, oh yeah! Like I was so excited. I was so the song got me pumped more than it should have.
Damn.
My reaction to the trailer was like, "There's two, there's two of them."
Which The Exorcist, I've been the Believer. Kristen, are you gonna
Oh,
are you gonna attend it with us?
Oh, I have class that night.
Oh,
Darn.
darn. Okay,
I can't
alright.
attend that one.
I'll be there like, yeah!
No, but I will say the trailer by itself
Yeah.
was already just a lot going on
Oh, yeah.
and very shocking and very disturbing. So I am really sad to miss this one.
All right.
Do you guys want to do 4 Truths and a Lie for
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
Exorcist
Yeah,
Exorcist
let's do
edition?
it. Let's
We
do
got
it.
this. Round
Let's do
two.
it.
All right.
Round-
Let's
this
redeem
time we'll agree.
Okay.
This time there's a vote. This is we'll vote. We'll vote on it.
Democracy.
This is a democracy.
All right. So, first sentence
Mhm.
Linda Blair, who played Reagan, had guards with her 24/7 after the film's release due to death threats.
Oh,
Oh,
Okay.
I hope that's
okay.
not true.
Okay.
Alright.
Okay.
man,
Number
that sucks.
2,
I believe it.
the crew had to refrigerate the set to create breath mist, making the room so cold that it sometimes snowed indoors.
I don't know if you can
Is that
recreate
possible?
snow.
Wait,
I don't
repeat
know.
that one more time.
So
Yeah.
the crew had to refrigerate the set to create the breath mist to make it look like it was cold in the room.
Uh-huh.
They did it so much, made it so cold that it sometimes snowed indoors.
No.
Hang on,
I
there's
mean-
3 more. There's 3 more. Don't
Needed snow indoors.
count
Are you
those
serious?
chickens.
Well,
Don't
was it-
count those
Was
chickens.
it real snow?
Put a pin in that.
Was it real snow or fake?
No, like real
No,
snow.
it's
The
just
statement
saying-
says it was real
There
snow.
was real snow.
Okay.
All right, what's the next one?
All right. A priest was called to bless the film set regularly due to the cast and crew members becoming increasingly unsettled from numerous on-set accidents.
I believe that.
I'm
That
pretty
one was
sure-
true.
I'm
That
pretty
one was
sure I've
true.
heard of that one.
That one's true. We know that.
Sentence 4. The Exorcist step scene where Father Karras plummets to his death was filmed on a soundstage, not on location.
Mm.
Mm.
And the last one, during one particularly intense scene, Ellen Burst was pulled with such force that she sustained permanent spinal injuries.
I think I believe that one.
And that's the actress that plays Reagan, or
That was
The
the
mom?
yes, I believe it's the mom.
That
Okay.
was a mom. Okay.
I believe
permanent
that
spinal
one.
one. I
probably.
What was number 1 again?
Oh, number 1. So Linda Blair, who played Reagan, had guards with her 24/7 after the film's release due to death threats.
I think that's true.
I think that's true.
I think the blessing is true. That so I think for me I think the soundstage thing is true because that sounds like a more controlled environment for a stunt like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's either the snow or the spinal one for me personally. I think I feel like the snow thing. I know it sounds not possible, but I think it's kind of the same way that you could kind of create like precipitation, like just it's not rain, but like you can
Yeah.
kind of create that in an environment where like the conditions are. I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking of it too much, but that one sounds so fake that it could be true that it did happen, and it does make sense that with the practicality of the rest of the effects that we know from the movie, that they would try something like that. I just think like instead of snow, it's probably just like little,
Yeah.
flakes of frost, or
snow,
yeah, but they're
barely
labeling it
snow.
It's not like a
Yeah.
blizzard.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm thinking. Sorry, I haven't been keeping track of the comments and stuff.
You're good.
So I don't know, like maybe the spinal thing, because I don't know, like that sounds like a lawsuit that we would have maybe
But it
heard
was the
of. But
70s.
Oh yeah, they.
yeah, that's true. Lawyers were invented.
Lawyers
They were invented a long time ago.
No, I know. I'm kidding. That's the joke. I don't know. We can always like vote on the snow thing if we feel like maybe there's more chances of that one being fake. But
I think I would agree with the spinal one. I think
Okay, yeah.
maybe.
No,
like
I'm
maybe
gonna-
she did experience it, but
also-
maybe not permanent. Like
We also overlooked the obvious, like, just technical film option in the first
That is
time that we
true.
played this. So the staircase thing might actually be the false one if they actually
It's
did it in the room.
Oh, yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. Oh.
Mm,
I don't know. We're all over the place.
Yeah.
All right, so
we
you
gotta
ready?
pick- we
You
gotta
ready for
pick-
the line?
No. We got to pick one.
Wait,
Okay.
we gotta pick
We gotta
one.
pick
we gotta
one.
get points
Alright,
on the scoreboard.
let's-
Okay.
What, the spinal one?
So it's between the spinal one and then the
Spinal.
snow one,
Okay,
right?
so-
One?
Spinal
Yeah.
one, right?
Okay.
Spinal.
We're gonna
Spinal.
go. We're gonna go with the spinal one.
Spinal.
Okay. So actually, the lie is the Exorcist step scene. So they actually
Okay.
did film that on location when he falls.
Hey.
I thought, why are you looking at me? What? I just said, hey, that's safer. I'm not running the set. Yeah,
Because
Kristen,
you
Kristen
convinced
had.
me. You convinced me.
I'm a good seller.
Yeah.
Now, Kristen had the right idea,
Clutch,
and
clutch.
when she said that, I was like, yeah. I mean, that makes sense. But I don't know if they'll do a too technical one. Next time, I'm not even gonna think about it. I'm not gonna analyze.
So now
the
next
technical
game,
one.
we're gonna be prepared for the
Yeah.
technical answer, and it's gonna be wrong.
Yeah, it is.
And with that,
They're
that's
like-
going to take us right into The Shining.
Ooh.
I've actually seen this one, so I'll take this one.
All right.
I was like,
Yeah.
I've seen this one. We actually watched it today. I watched it today for the very first time. But-
Nice.
Exciting.
So, for anyone who has not seen it, it follows Jack Torrance, who's an aspiring writer and recovering alcoholic, as he takes a job as the winter caretaker of the isolated Overlook Hotel in the Colorado Rockies. His wife, Wendy, and son, Danny, accompany him. As snow traps the family in the hotel, Danny's psychic ability, known as the Shining, reveals the hotel's dark past and its malevolent spirits. Jack's sanity deteriorates under the influence of supernatural forces and thus endangers his family.
All right, guys. So, what do we think about The Shining?
This was also another film I watched as an adult. I didn't watch this when I
Yeah,
was younger.
watch it as an adult. Did not
Watched-
watch it as a kid.
And I gotta say, it's not like scary, like imagery scary, but some of the concepts, like how he basically loses his mind as the film goes on, is really cool to watch. I really appreciated this film, and Jack Nicholson's just great. It's great.
Well, that's what was kind of interesting about The Shining, and to me, that is different than other horror movies that I have been forced to sit through. And,
You're welcome.
is that yeah, this isn't like jump scare, like traditional scary. This is like it takes its time. It has long pacing, but to me, the scariest part of the movie was just Jack Nicholson's character. Was just that. I mean, from the very beginning, like before they even get to the hotel, she's telling the story about how he ripped his son's arm off because he was yanking him up too hard. I was
Yeah.
like, this guy is terrifying. Like, I wouldn't want to be locked in a hotel with this guy. Like, forget all of the supernatural stuff going on. This guy by himself is terrifying to me.
You know, I got a little fun fact here. So when we talk about movies, we always like to mention the box office. So get this: the box office for this film actually tanked. It did not do good at all in the box office opening
Ah,
weekend. The budget for it was about $19 million, and it only made $622,000.
Oh,
wow.
What a
wow.
But get this: but word of mouth, it got legs. It didn't do a great opening weekend, but I guess maybe at that time when that was okay. I mean, but still a budget 19 million. I mean, come
Yeah,
on.
that's
I mean,
big.
Well, for
that's
the 80s
huge.
too.
Yeah, especially for at that time and everything. So it definitely it was not everyone's cup of tea, I guess, during that time period.
It is a much slower horror movie, and it doesn't, like I said, doesn't have the jump scares. To me, I guess the scariest scene is the woman in the bathtub. Like,
Oh yeah.
that all in fact, like before I watched the movie, the only reason I knew what was in that room was because I saw Ready Player One.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Yeah.
I'm prepared for what is in this room.
And I think so for me, like, just one share about The Shining is this is not one that I've seen fully. I know it and know like the most well recognized scenes because of like just the obviously, you know, film people love to study it and kind of break it down, and it's inspired so much. So I know from that aspect. This is actually not one that I've avoided or anything. In particular, it's just not one that I've ever found myself in an environment where like, hey, let's play that. And I say that as someone that obviously we have access to streaming, so I could always sit down and play, but it's not something that I'm actively like. It's one thing that like, if someone says like, hey, you ready to watch this? I'd say yes in a heartbeat, but it's never happened that way. So it's just something.
What are you doing after this?
Yeah, let's do it.
We have it right there.
I was so close to when the Doctor Sleep movie was coming out that I was gonna like, you know what, that's gonna make me do it, and then it just time slipped by. But no, truly, I mean, and I think, you know, with the box office, like fun fact and things like that, I think not only at the time but also even now, I think like a lot of these movies that maybe bomb at the box office, still can become classics. There's a lot of
word of mouth.
Like, I recall a lot of these movies that we look at now as classics, and then you look at the stats and the numbers, and you see that they actually weren't well received, or at least didn't produce a lot of money and things like that. I think like it takes some time. Like the bombs of today maybe are gonna get legs, like, you know, 10 years from now, right? Or, you know, there's a lot of movies that actually now with the streaming world is they succeed in streaming, but they failed at the box office, right? So there's this new dynamic. But I think back then we still saw some of this where like the craft was there and people picked up on that, and clearly, you know, it developed a lot of skills for these actors, like, you know, Jack Nicholson, like, then going on to do the amazing things that he's done throughout his career. So it's just from a technical aspect, like this movie has, you know, golden status amongst the horror community.
And another fun fact. So the reason why I didn't make that much money was because at that time, rated R movies were kind of not available everywhere. So it's the select theaters for one.
That makes sense.
Two, it was only in 10 theaters in the whole country.
Oh.
So that makes sense, right? So that makes sense. Okay.
But it made that much money.
in 10 theaters?
They nerfed it.
That's a lot.
Okay, so let me give you another fun fact. It actually went against the most iconic you know, franchise that we all come to love. It actually came on opening weekend against the Empire Strikes Back.
I was gonna say it's gotta be.
So I mean, there's just no. I understand.
So not a lot of competition at all.
Yeah,
They both take place in the snow.
I understand now why it wasn't. Why it tanked.
Yeah.
And hey, if you're gonna lose to Star Wars, it's a loss, but I mean, it didn't change the release date and all that.
At the end of the day, people weren't remembering the box office numbers; they're remembering the movie as a classic as it is.
But the thing is that we always have to remember it's a business. It's a business. As much as we liked Blue Beetle, and I liked Blue Beetle, I didn't love Blue Beetle, but Blue Beetle did not make money. It crapped. It was negative. And it sucks because of the fact that it was, you know, the cast and everything. Sholo did a great job. I liked him as Blue Beetle, but the box office numbers, it's a business. As it sucks, but it is what it is. It's a business.
Well, you said that this movie tanked, and it also Stephen King didn't even like the movie.
Yeah.
So
that's why
have any of you guys read The Shining book or anything like that?
No. Nope.
So
I haven't got a chance.
So I started reading it, and I didn't finish it because I thought the movie was so much better. And maybe not everybody agrees with that statement, but I think it's one of those.
About to piss everyone off.
It's one of those moments where
Yeah.
Stanley Kubrick's movie was better than Stephen King's book, and you can't always say that. You can't always say that the movie is better than the book, and I
Yeah.
think you can in this instance.
No,
Considering it's Stephen,
Stephen
King
King's
too.
book. It's better than Stephen King's book.
I think so,
Oh.
and I love Stephen King's books. Like,
Yeah.
Well,
big
tell him
Pet
why.
Cemetery
You were
fan here, but
you were talking to me earlier about like some of the kind of goofiness that's in.
yeah.
book.
So like Stanley Kubrick's movie is very grounded in reality. Obviously, you've got a lot of paranormal things going on in the hotel.
Yeah.
But the paranormal things that happens in the book, for instance, one of the fire hoses in the hotel comes alive and it's like a snake. And so visually it's kind of cheesy. So
Yeah.
you can't really
Yeah.
do that in a movie. Also, there's these, so in the movie, it's the big hedge maze that is a big part of the final scene where they're running through it. So in the book, that maze does not exist. There's like a bunch of animals that they've made out of bushes, and then the bush animals come alive, and it's like elephants and giraffes.
Yeah.
So
whoa.
it's
Wow.
So there's things that
I don't think
but
it translates
but
well
it-
to
yeah.
movies, and to
It could
me
be
as a
good.
reader, it's not.
Hey, the fire hose could have turned into a snake. I mean, you
well, but,
improvise.
no.
but now,
No.
like, I mean, now we're used to.
We're vetoing that. No.
Well, I think now we're not limited by like CGI,
Yeah.
and I'm not saying CGI of this level wasn't capable. You describing that gives me like Beetlejuice vibes and things like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
It can be done very well, but for the vision that
Could've been
the
Beetlejuice.
movie had, I think you're right. Like
Yeah.
grounding it in reality, just like we talked just about The Exorcist, right? Like I think it adds an element, like with horror, there's often like this thing where like the less you show, the better, right? When it comes to whether it's like a creature or a monster or things like that, I think that's been very effective up until a point where like we can get CGI to be like that good to kind of bring this new vision to life. But yeah, it's a very interesting take. Like not a lot of movies get that crown of like, hey, you know what, this might have been a better adaptation than what we had in the book. But I think it's subjective, but I think you were on the right track on that, because I haven't been exposed to the book per se, but I haven't heard anyone say like, oh yeah, no, like that did a disservice to the book, right? So must be on the right track.
And I will say one more thing real quick before we move on to our game that we're going to win this time.
I know we're 0 for 2.
I actually saw Dr. Sleep before I saw The Shining,
Yeah.
but Dr. Sleep is like a nice pairing with The Shining. I think it like pulls out, because it doesn't really explain like The Shining too much in
Yeah.
the original Shining, and it doesn't really like touch on what the hotel really is and like the story behind it. Dr. Sleep really like pulls out all of that deeper levels. So I think it is like a nice pairing if you watch The Shining and then watch Dr. Sleep. And it's Ewan McGregor. So I'm like, oh,
Love
Yeah.
yeah.
Daddy Kenobi.
Kenobi, man. He should have brought his lightsaber. That's all I'm saying. Yeah.
All right, so you guys ready for Four
Yeah.
Truths and a Lie
We're gonna
for
win
The
this time,
Shining?
guys. We
Round
got this.
3.
Yeah.
I believe in you guys. You got this. All right, so statement 1. To achieve a heightened state of agitation for her character, Shelley Duvall was intentionally isolated and harassed by director Stanley Kubrick, leading for her to have a nervous breakdown.
Good Lord.
Statement 2.
Yeah.
Danny Lloyd, who played Danny Torrance, wasn't aware he was filming a horror movie. He thought it was a drama about a family who lived in a hotel.
Sure.
Statement 3. The Overlook Hotel is a real hotel in Colorado, and all interior scenes were shot there.
I
I think that's
Statement.
true.
The next
I think
statement.
that one's true too.
Statement. Excuse me. The next statement. There was a real life fire on the set that destroyed an entire soundstage, and Kubrick incorporated the aftermath into the film. And final statement. The river of blood scene used over 5,000 gallons of fake blood. Which one's the truth?
So
Or, excuse me, which
I know
one's the
for a
lie?
fun fact that one's a fact.
Okay.
I know that one's a
So
fact.
you
The
got
blood-
one narrowed
The
down.
blood scene, I know
down.
for sure is a fact. I want to say, what was the second to last one?
The
Second.
fire.
The
So there was
fire.
a real life fire.
I think that's the false one.
Okay.
I don't think it's a real hotel.
I
think it is.
I think it's a real
it is.
hotel.
I just
I
don't
think
know
it
if it's
is.
in
We could be wrong,
Colorado,
though.
but
But he said also that they filmed the entire movie there.
the interior
Oh.
shots.
The interior, is that it?
Yeah, all interior shots were shot in the real hotel
that
in
was it.
Colorado.
That's
Okay.
the question.
Okay.
I do agree though that I do know it's a real hotel. I know that part. I don't know if they shot it there or if they just recreated it,
Have
because
you stayed there?
I think no.
Do you want to?
Probably
We should
not.
do a podcast there.
Probably not.
No.
From
We should
room
do a podcast.
237.
Yeah, we should do a podcast there. We just won't sleep all night. We're just doing all-nighter.
I don't know. Like this one's tricky because there's a couple things. Like I think I believe the one about the actor not knowing that it was a horror movie. I've heard of too many tales of like actors that played a role in something that they really didn't see the entire scope of what they were in for.
He's supposed to be young too, so
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we can just like assume any answer that has to do with an actor being mistreated or misinformed. We can just assume that's true.
Yeah.
If the movie was made in the 70s or 80s, like, we're just gonna assume that was true.
I could be like mixing fun facts, but like
Yeah.
I recall the first one either being true or it happened to another actors in another movie or something like that. So I don't know. So like,
the
does
fire?
that
I'm gonna
go with the
is
burn-
it the
the burn
fire?
fire. Yeah, the
I'm gonna do
fire.
fire. Fire.
I think
All
we're
right.
all in agreement.
Fire.
The lie is the Overlook Hotel is a real hotel in Colorado, and all interior
You have
scenes
to
were
listen
shot
to
there.
me. I'm a very intelligent
So-
person.
He's right. He's right. So
So it is.
the lie is all interior scenes were shot there.
Okay.
But it's
it is a real.
That's what I was pointing out was
And
that
that's-
was it actually filmed?
Yeah.
Damn it.
Okay.
Damn.
Yeah, we just gotta
No,
go with
but the thing
Kristen.
that threw me off was that because the thing that threw me off was like, no, it's a fact because it's a real hotel.
And you know what, like
It's just a small detail.
yeah,
I pointed it
Almost. You were so close.
I
You
know.
were so
Yeah.
close.
we were on the right. We were
Good
on
job
the
to
right
everybody
track.
who made the set
Yeah.
because it looked like a real inside of the hotel.
Oh man.
All right. So next up, we've got The Ring from 2002.
All right,
Uh.
I'll go ahead and get us started with this. I'll go ahead and share the synopsis. So, journalist Rachel Keller investigates a cursed videotape that allegedly kills its viewers 7 days after watching it. After viewing the tape herself and receiving a haunting phone call,
Mhm.
Rachel has only a week to unravel the mystery behind the curse to save her own life and stop the deadly cycle. This one I have seen, guys. So I've just, I didn't want to go with the one that I haven't seen. So
yeah.
I've seen The Ring.
Okay.
It was another one of those like, perhaps not the same scope of The Exorcist, but I think for a modern age, and I know that it does have a Japanese movie that it's adapted from, but
Yeah.
for the US version, I gotta say, like a little bit more distributed to the masses, I believe at that point, like it definitely picked up. I, as a kid at the time, like definitely heard about it. And I think this also spurred another round of the jump scares because
Mhm.
I do remember seeing them with
Yep.
Samara
With
from The
Samara.
Ring.
Yeah,
Yeah. I remember my school having this like tale that like there was this girl called Samara in the restroom, right? So it's like it obviously has its pop culture like impact, but this movie, like looking back at it, because I have gotten a chance to see it at different stages of my life, like I learned to appreciate it a lot more because I think it has this level of craft about it that it's really, I don't want to attribute this to a single movie, but it really makes it so that you're aware that the new age of horror is kind of like it's here, right? And I think that's what this movie symbolizes for me, and it
Yeah.
represents it. And you can tell with the cinematography. I really enjoyed what the director did with this movie, but also there's some character development behind this, where there's this mystery to be resolved, and I don't know if like I should spoil it, but like there's this whole mystery, and there's plot points that kind of throw you off, and in particular,
Yeah.
without going to too much detail, we can break it down, but I want to get the thoughts from everyone else. But
Yeah.
even something like the ending to this like was super well done and executed, where it's kind of like a cliffhanger but also a question of morality
Mhm.
between the main character, and for there to be that many layers, not only to the monster or spectral figure that is Samara, but also the main characters and the human people, the people that are alive,
Yeah.
to have that many layers, like it's really awesome. And I think it's
Yeah.
a movie that stuck with me. Like I said, watching it as an adult,
Yeah.
as a kid, all you can think is like, oh shit, this better not happen to me. But as an adult, it's a movie where it's like, wow, like the shock and awe is there, but also the layers.
I think this movie, obviously, it came out at the right time.
Yeah.
And it came out at a time where I think most of us, this is probably going to date us, were younger. Like
Yeah.
we were probably like elementary, middle school. So we probably saw it. Like I saw it because we rented it from like Blockbuster.
Blockbuster.
So there was something
Hollywood Video.
or Hollywood Video.
Yeah.
Oh.
So there was something special about
Oh,
going
Blockbuster.
and getting this DVD or VHS version of the movie,
Mhm.
putting it into your VCR, and then watching a movie about a movie that kills you in 7 days. So there was like,
Yeah.
You
There's a-
watched the movie too.
yeah,
Yeah.
I refuse.
So there's like certain layers in that movie. So the timing of its release was obviously perfect. Obviously, if you came out with it today, you would have to make it like a streaming video or something that somebody saw on TikTok or something like that. So
Yeah.
I think the fact that it's a VHS tape makes it really eerie.
Yeah, yeah. The release date was this October 18th, 2002. And I gotta agree with you. It really did. And box office numbers here, because we always talk about,
Okay.
all right, so the budget for this was $48 million, right?
Ooh, wow.
Opening
Yeah.
weekend, it did not even, it came kind of close to it, not really, but it was $15 million it made. But overall, worldwide, overall worldwide, with the whole run in theaters, it made $250 million.
Jesus.
Oh wow.
So,
Obviously,
obviously-
PG-13, right? Am I remembering that correctly? It's a PG-13 movie.
Let me
that
check on
sounds
that.
right.
Because I think I remember that being like a big deal whenever I was younger. Is that like we
could watch it.
We could watch this movie because it was a PG-13 film,
Mm.
and I remember everybody talking about it.
It was-
I refused.
It was such a big deal. This
Yeah.
movie was a big deal. It was
Yeah.
something that I think word of mouth is probably what we're going to find is why that movie made
PG-13.
Yeah.
why this movie made so
Mm.
much money. And then I think we kind of got to experience that word of mouth just being around like other kids at school. And it was a big deal to talk about this movie, which is fine. Like you guys talk about like the money and stuff like that. And what we like to do is look up like the critic score and the audience score.
Yeah.
And when I looked up the audience score for this one, it really surprised me. It's
Yeah.
it's only sitting at 48% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is
Yeah.
kind of low for an audience score. And I thought that was weird because this movie, it's inspired so much.
Yeah.
It was talked about so much. So
Yeah.
I was surprised to see it so low. And I don't know if I
For-
agree with how low
for
it is.
me, for me, it's, and I know Lexi talked of a lot of great points in the film and everything. And I'm not, I didn't love this movie. I liked the idea, but I think the acting in it was just not to my standard, I guess, at that time. And at that time, though, I
coming
wasn't
in like
in it
girl
for
Naomi
the acting.
Watts?
Yeah, I was like, Naomi Watts would kill it. But
I mean, Naomi,
Are you talking-
it wasn't Naomi Watts. It was more the kid, just because of the fact that I believe a year later, or maybe even within Scary Movie, knocked on it a lot.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it was just I just couldn't unsee it. And
Yeah.
so it
I don't know if it was the next year, but definitely
Yeah.
like you
And-
know, a lot of these movies definitely started
Yeah.
getting the
The
scary
big-
movie,
yeah.
the scary movie treatment.
it was more so the kid actor, because he wasn't doing well for me in the standard, right, that I'm saying, right, because it's my point of view and everything. But Naomi Watts, I don't know, I just kind of felt like it was a little bit the dialogue in there is definitely not what I expected. But again, though, I wasn't going in for the dialogue. I wasn't going in for the so
Yeah.
I was mainly going in for the scares. I'll be honest here. So
yeah, and I think
yeah.
that's where like I see,
Yeah.
like I said,
yeah.
it could be divisive, but I personally thought like the modernization of horror I don't want to
Yeah.
say started with this movie, but you kind of felt it with this one, is like, oh,
Mhm.
it's here. And one thing I want to talk about it, and sorry Frankie if it because it's kind of like a fun fact, but I don't know if if it's part of the lies and stuff, but I'm just gonna throw it out there. Like, this is, from at least what I know to be documented, like one of the first movies, because it's still 2002. Think about it, right? Like early stage internet, not like, you know, YouTube wasn't around, things like that. But the marketing campaign for this movie implemented like what I think is one of the earliest viral marketing tactics, in the fact that people were reportedly finding VHSs like taped to their, or not taped, but like on their windshields, and it was the tape that plays in the movie with like all the scenes. Nothing else.
You know what? I think
It
I
does
did
not
hear
tell
that.
you. It does not tell you that this is for a movie. It does not tell you like, oh, The Ring coming soon. It's not labeled as a trailer. It's literally a VHS with no label on it. and people were finding it at random places, playing that tape, had zero idea what was happening.
Did they die?
And
Did they die?
I don't know. I don't know.
That's a fun
Did
fact.
anybody get the
But-
prank phone calls?
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah,
I remember those.
Yeah.
The 7 days prank
I
phone
don't
calls.
remember
What?
that.
I do remember. Yeah.
But that was like
Yeah.
people you knew, right?
I don't know.
It wasn't-
That,
it wasn't
was
part of
like
that.
yeah, that was like
That was-
teenage fun. That wasn't a
Yeah.
marketing.
Okay,
thing.
then I do remember like
that would have been a
people
cool
saying
marketing thing.
Well,
That's a
but that was
lawsuit.
that was
That's a
crazy,
lawsuit.
right?
You're gonna die.
And you know,
Go to
you guys talked about renting and things like that. I think these tapes, unlabeled, unmarked
Yeah.
by the marketing campaign, were also placed in like Blockbusters. So like
Yeah.
people
Oh my
would
gosh.
find this mysterious tape unlabeled and things like that, not from Blockbuster.
Yeah.
Take it home, play it, and it's playing the Ring clip. And it wasn't until the trailer comes out that people are like, "Oh, okay, that's where that's
yeah.
from."
And I've seen
Like
it.
it's brilliant. Like I love the marketing play here, but
Yeah.
also like I said, 2002, this was not known. Like
Yeah.
you know, now we see of like I know Smile did this thing where it was sending
Yeah,
people to like
people-
sporting events
were
to
talking
just
about
smile
that.
throughout the whole
Yeah.
game. Like that was also brilliant. But I was like, in 2002, this was groundbreaking stuff, and I would have
What a time.
I would have crapped my pants like if I had gotten that tape like just in my car or whatever.
Yeah.
And you can't do
First
that
of all, I would
Franchise.
be watching a tape taped to my car that would have gone in the trash.
Yeah.
And-
Yeah. That's
But you
like
can't
that's
like do that no
signs.
more because like,
Oh,
like you
no.
say, I think what makes it special was it was the VHS.
The
Yeah.
physical
You-
physical media.
yeah, it was so cool. I mean I watched it way too young.
Yeah.
And it's still almost 20 over 20 years later still impacts me, and
Just us talking about it. Is
I-
like,
I refuse to rewatch
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
And there's
Absolutely
the girl
not
herself
watching
right
again.
there. The
I'm
look.
not gonna turn
I,
it.
Oh, yeah.
no. I'm still
I-
impacted to this
You
day.
kind of left it on for a long time.
Yeah.
People
Yeah.
want to see us again.
Yeah,
And
I
have a
know.
full front
They
row
just
seat to
logged
that.
off.
Yeah. We
No.
did lose a few people. Sorry about that. Yeah, but you know we're getting excited because midnight or is it how many days is October? No, it's
What? October's 31.
31. Okay, cool. Yeah, so we're almost in October, so get you ready for the spooky season, guys. But yeah,
That's-
yeah.
That's like my one rule when we talk about like watching a horror movie, is I said that it's the faces
yeah,
that I don't
Yeah.
want to see. Like if it's a movie where there's like creepy faces, I don't want to see
Yeah.
it. And The
Mhm.
Ring is like the mother lode of creepy faces, because when people die,
Yeah.
even in you mentioned Scary Movie, I think it was Scary Movie 3 that made fun of The Ring. Even
Yeah.
the
That-
moments in Scary Movie 3 that were making fun of The Ring still
W-
terrified
yeah.
me. Yes.
No, I agree.
When,
Still-
when she, when he- when she-
Crawling out of
when
the
she
TV,
pulls-
even when she gets beat up.
doesn't. She's not crawling. She pulls her out, trying to beat the
No,
white out of her. I think it was what's her name. She's like, I'm gonna beat the white out of you. Like, it's like,
Yeah,
oh
no,
my
obviously,
God.
like it's
and then the kid, he's all boo. He knocks him out.
no, but I totally get you. Even
Yeah.
like the makeup
Scary
and
movie.
things like that.
Oh,
and
man.
then just
Yeah.
last thing I want to throw in there is like, you know, this movie brought like a fresh with the VHS thing, like it brought a fresh concept to
Yeah,
like cursed items. And you
Mhm.
know, that's been done in horror before, right? But it's
Yeah.
usually been done in the form of, you know, there's this curse like ancient artifact or body parts or whatever and things like
Yeah.
that. But just like
even
digital.
the Exorcist
It's
did it.
just
Yeah.
Yeah.
And not
unmarked
digital, but I
VHS.
guess physical. Yeah,
Yeah.
like something tangible like that,
Yeah.
easily spatters. And you know, passing it around was
Mhm.
or copying it was part of the plot itself, which was crazy.
Yeah,
And
Something
like
contemporary.
yeah,
too,
yeah.
what
and
made it
that
scary.
that plays into
Yeah.
the ending, like I said, like with the twist and stuff.
Mhm.
But I think it's even inspired things like, you know, there's this horror anthology series called VHS, and not a series. I'm sorry, it's a movie, but it's a movie called VHS. I personally love the first two. Third one kind of sucked, I think, if I remember correctly. It's coming back now. I think it's exclusive to Shudder. But if you guys get an opportunity to watch like the OG VHS, that's all it's called. It's just called VHS. It's really good in my opinion. Super crazy, creepy anthology series, and it's part of, you know, VHS that are
nice.
kind of found to have creepy stuff on them. So
Yeah,
Uh,
I'm on board with physical media. Always will be. Best Buy keeps getting shorter and like it keeps shrinking their inventory and just yeah. I'm for physical media. But going, I know I'm jumping ship, but one of the comments I actually missed it, guys. Sorry about that. Was what did you think? Going back to The Shining, I know I'm switching gears here, but one of the comments actually asked about what about the Wendy theory in The Shining. So the Wendy theory, I don't know if you all have heard of it. So I actually Googled it real quick. So the Wendy theory states that Wendy is actually the main character of the film and that the story is told from her point of view.
I mentioned
That
that
could-
whenever we were watching
yeah.
it, because I was like, this movie is really about the wife and all the trauma and
Yeah,
everything that she's
'cause-
having to experience.
Because technically, it's Jack Nicholson's character that's supposed to like caretake this, but we actually never. And it's a fun fact. We actually never really see him do anything.
As a matter
Yeah.
of fact, when you see the hotel being taken care of, it's Wendy
It's
doing
her.
it.
It's-
She's the
yeah.
one checking the boilers
Yeah.
and making sure that everything's okay. So
Yeah. that's
I would
interesting.
believe it.
I
I mean,
believe
it.
Wendy's got a big role in the movie, and bless Shelley Duvall's heart for having to endure all of that. Like, from what I've read, is like her hair was actually falling out during the filming of this movie.
Oh,
And like
damn.
people talk about like how hard Stanley Kubrick is to work with, and that she was like she holds the record for having to do a scene in so many takes. It was like over 200 or something like that.
Wow.
To do just one scene.
Yeah.
And by the end
Yeah.
of it, she was in tears. But
Yeah.
she's not the only one. Other actors were saying
Yeah.
the same thing on set about working with him. So I believe it. I mean, go her. She deserves this movie to be about her. I
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah.
All right, we're going back to
You
the
get
ring.
your
Sorry.
theory.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention that. And
No, thank
for
you.
commenting.
Sorry we missed it, but that was great.
Yeah.
That's actually a great theory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see if we can win our game.
All right. So you guys want to do
Yeah.
4 Truths and a Lie with the Ring from 2002?
Yeah.
Yes,
All
we're
right.
here for it.
All right. So statement number 1. In one scene, Naomi Watts' character, Rachel, finds a single hair on her head that turns gray. The filmmakers achieved this effect in real time on camera without using any visual effects.
Mm.
Statement 2. The director, Gore Verbinski, used only practical effects to make the cursed videotape. Not a single CGI shot was used in those segments.
I believe that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Statement 3. In the original script, the cursed videotape could be copied and sold as a feature film, turning anyone who watched it into the next victim. Statement 4. To get the decomposing grotesque appearance of the victims after watching the tape, the makeup team studied actual photographs of drowned and waterlogged bodies.
I believe that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And final statement. The movie's VHS copy included a full, unedited cursed videotape as an Easter egg. Watching it in its entirety gives viewers an eerie edition scene not found in the theatrical release.
I think that's
believe
true.
that.
Yeah, I
believe
think
that
that's
too.
true.
So it'd either be
believe
What was
all
number
of them.
3?
Number 3 was in the original script, the cursed videotape could be copied and sold as a feature film, turning anyone who watched it into the next victim.
I don't know if I believe that.
I
So
would
that's-
say
Yeah.
okay.
I don't know. That first one though, I was kind of like,
I would say
oh,
the
So I
first-
was,
the
so
first
I was
one
gonna
was
say
one.
for that, what confuses me about that one, is, at least on the movie I saw, you do copy it, pass it to the next victim, but I don't know about
Yeah.
the selling part. I think you just have to send it. But I don't know the feature film component to it. Like if trying to dig into that.
Yeah, read that one again.
Number
The,
3.
the feature film one?
Yeah.
So in the original script, the cursed videotape could be copied and sold as a feature film, turning anyone who watched it into the next victim.
Isn't that a part of it? Can't the movie be
The
copied?
movie does because the movie yes, it's part of the plot twist, I think, because I think
So
that
that's the
reveal came
clip.
towards the end.
But
So
But
it's top-
it wasn't
it's-
selling though,
It's
so I
the
don't know.
clip though that you get the ring of the phone call, right? It's not the actual
it's not it's not a full.
movie because it's only like a few minutes.
I guess maybe what this is trying to say is that although at the final version of the movie,
I think
all you needed, all you,
over critically.
well, I guess what it's trying to
We
say
need
is
to get
that
on the scoreboard. you guys.
in the final version of the movie, all you needed to do was copy it and,
Yeah.
and have another person watch it. But I guess
Yeah.
it's saying that on the OG one, you could also go as far as like sell it and sell it as a full movie or whatever. I
But
don't
still,
know.
it's just people
But
watching
It's
it.
still people, and didn't they do that like in a sequel or something? They had like a whole bunch of people watch it like on an
I don't
airplane or
think if I-
something.
Oh yeah, I don't think I saw that.
I'm gonna go with the first
other-
one, the grit turning the gray.
Yeah.
hair.
So the hair
'cause I-
turning gray without
But
any
it-
visual effects.
I can't imagine how that
I don't know how
would
that
be
works.
done.
So
have to,
then
like,
you're
maybe
saying
drop-
they spray paint? Oh, I don't know.
No, it's like,
Yeah.
uh,
like drop some paint and
Without-
it would
without
go down
any
her
effects?
hair?
So no effects in the
no visual
Yeah, so they're saying in this statement,
no
when her
CGI.
hair turned gray, the filmmakers achieved this effect in real time on camera without any visual effects.
But how do you wait? But did they stop filming and then turn her?
like
I think
it's too easy.
they could like I don't know. I don't think double exposure
know
does
what
that. But
scene that
Let me
is.
ask you
That
this:
feels
was this
believable, but-
directed by Christopher Nolan?
Because
I know for sure that
That's
yeah.
the guy who directed the Pirates of the Caribbean movies. Pretty
Oh,
sure.
okay.
You know what? Let's go with wait. So I don't. Okay, if it's the same person that directed Pirates of the Caribbean, I kind of believe it now because it's like Pirates of the Caribbean. I
Look
mean,
what
they're
you've
all-
done.
Yeah,
they're
but,
all-
okay,
they're
but,
all
but,
like.
but
let's
which
look at-
time- when did the first
Let's
Pirates
look
of
it
the
up.
Caribbean
Hang
come
on.
out?
Like 01, right?
Oh, one, yeah.
01?
This one came out. When did this one come out?
The
02.
Ring came out in 02.
Okay. hang on.
Gosh, it's been
But-
out so long.
And what was the second one?
The Ring too.
I feel like bullet points.
The Ring or Pirates?
No, I'm
So,
saying the
part-
the second question.
The second statement is that they used only practical effects to make the cursed videotape. Like all the stuff that's in the cursed videotape was all practical and
I'm
not
pretty
CGI.
sure.
I was like,
I'm pretty sure that one's
sounds-
true.
That sounds
True.
right. That sounds true.
So then we're left with
It's really like the hair one
I think
or
the hair
the replicating. What was 4 and 5?
I think that's the water. That's the water.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, so he did direct the Pirates of the Caribbean,
I was obsessed with Pirates of the Caribbean when I
Yeah.
was younger, so that's why I know that.
and he
But-
directed Pirates of the Caribbean: Dead Man. So the second one, Dead
Yeah.
Man's Chest.
which is
Okay.
the best
So-
one in my opinion. But
really, you think so? With Blackbeard?
I think that movie's
Alright.
so good. Anyways,
Let's go with the gray hair. Let's
Yeah.
just say screw
The
it.
gray hair.
Gray
Gray
hair.
it is.
Gray
The,
hair.
That's what we're going
All right,
with.
Well,
I'm
I'm kidding.
unconvinced.
I mean,
All right, so the gray hair is actually the truth. The lie
course, of course.
was in the original script. The cursed video tape could be copied and sold as a feature film, turning
Yeah, 'cause
anyone
it was
who
a few
watched
minutes.
it into the next victim. So that's actually the lie here.
So
How is it the lie?
Wait, wait, so-
what's the
so
what's
you're
the
saying-
logic behind
wait,
it?
what do you mean? What do you? So you're saying
Yeah,
like
that
the
We
original
challenge
clip?
this, sir.
So in the original script, it was you could sell it as a feature film. But
so that was not true.
that
It
didn't
was-
make it. That was not true. That was not part of the original script at all.
Oh.
And that was not part of
Oh, that's what you were saying.
No, I
thought
mean,
you
I
were
knew
saying
that's what he
something-
was saying.
I thought he was saying something else.
I thought he was saying something.
Oh, now
else.
that you told me what it is, now I understand what you said.
No, I understood it like that, but I was like, well,
Just
it seems
kidding,
like
just
It
something-
just sounded like something that
Yeah.
would be in the original.
yeah, because you go crazy on that first draft, you know. Like,
Yeah. Just
Yeah.
like throwing out ideas,
Oh,
like
oh,
throwing
like-
gel
now
at
that I
the
think
wall.
about it, though, it is kind of goofy. Like just
Yeah.
like if they had you want to pay me $5 for this, and
Yeah.
you know
Hey man,
you're
you
gonna
wanna
die.
You
All
wanna-
right.
All
Yeah,
right,
no,
this is
that's
going to
awesome.
be our final movie, Hereditary from 2018.
Pass.
Wow. Oh man. Hereditary tells of a story of a grieving family is haunted by tragic and disturbing occurrences. Okay, so pretty much, when her mentally ill mother passes away, Anna and her husband, son, and daughter all mourn her loss. The family turn to a different means to handle their grief, including Anna and her daughter, both flirting with the supernatural. They each began to have disturbing overworldly experiences linked to the sinister secrets and the emotional trauma that has been passed through the generations of their family.
I like how you said
Heavy.
that. Flirting with
like,
hey, boo, you want to play with the Ouija board? You want to
Where
possess
you
my
at tonight?
and we
possess my body?
what Hereditary has always been a film that I gotta say that really spooked me a little bit when I first saw it. And
a little
lot of
bit.
it.
a lot of it, and especially how great that fire scene was. I have it up there for you guys, moviegoers out there on the YouTube channel and on Facebook. That fire scene, and there's this other great moment in this film, and A24, and that's the thing too. A24, I have high expectations of every single film. I don't care what kind of film it is. If it's A24, I have a certain expectation there, and they have not disappointed me ever.
And I think
Yeah.
Hereditary was one of the first one that really like
Stood out.
put,
the studio.
it put like I don't want to say put them on the map. I'm trying to think of chronological order, like
Yeah.
what came before Hereditary though. But I'm
Yeah.
thinking Hereditary, and then
Midsommar.
They kept
Midsummer.
putting
Midsummer.
like fire. after
Midsummer
that. Yeah.
put
Yeah.
another huge just impact on the cinema, especially in the Oscars,
Just-
because people didn't know who A24 was. Even more so, they didn't know that A24, a small studio, independent studio, could really have an impact the way it did in cinema and everything, and it did. And yeah, I gotta say, I actually saw at the Draft House. It was a review that we did. I don't think Lex, I don't think you were a part of the movie talk yet.
This was before my time.
Yeah, before your time. And so I actually saw it by myself.
I was not
Yeah, I
born.
did not
Yeah,
like him.
I did not exist.
No, whatever. You're not that young. But yeah, you weren't part of the crew at the time. But
I remember you came home from that night. So
I was like, I have to watch something happy.
Yeah, for some reason, like
Yeah.
I didn't go, and he came home
There's-
spooked, like totally
yeah.
thrown by this film. He was like, I gotta watch something happy. It was
There's-
all dark.
There's
Oh,
something,
God.
there's something telling me that I would say, and it's usually I share this personally with with people that I know and everything, but I'll share with you guys, Movie Talk fans, because we're all family here at the YouTube channel. Thank you so much. Like, share, subscribe. And so, but I do want to share with you guys, and maybe you didn't have that same movie theater experience, but because I saw this at Alamo Draft House, and because it gets really dark in there, and more so, it just the whole existence of rituals, right? Because I'm hopefully I'm not spoiling it for you, but there is a ritual about the Antichrist that's at the very end of this film, and it's very powerful, and I feel like it influences even more so, because I believe in God and I believe in the devil, so it's definitely one of those things to where that, oh crap, like it haunted me in a small little way, but I just had to watch something happen. I was completely
It struck
fine.
a nerve for
Yeah,
sure for you.
It did, because it was, and it's not even the jump scares. That's the thing. It wasn't the jump scares. There's this great scene where she's up on the corner and you can kind of see her in the black, but I just like the way they do the darkness of the screen, or the darkness of where she's in that corner, but she's there, but then they put your attention because the camera's not centered on her. It's centered more so on that living room scene. And
Yeah. I think I talked about this earlier, right? Like, we're known for certain horror elements, right? Like, I think for audience, like, one, I don't want to say it's a rule that has to be respected, but it's a rule that it's very effective, and it's like showing little, right? Like, there's a lot of scenes in this movie very well crafted by Ari Aster, who then did Midsummer, and we were like, oh my god, this guy's amazing, right? But like, just the way that he would hold a shot and kind of be in that moment, like that dinner scene where Colette, is it Connie Colette?
Connie Colette.
Okay, yeah, she delivered a masterful scene in that. She got nominated, if I'm not mistaken, and it is you stay in that moment. And in the movies of this day and age, which this is the most modern of the movies that we're talking about here, right? Like where we are used to, whether it's due to superhero movies or other action movies or things like that, the attention span, right? Like, movies have kind of played the dance with that, but just still holding a moment, being intimate with a scene. Like, I think it's something that was brought back in this genre with this film, and I think it was very well put together, and like you said, it had this aura about it of like everything, whether they went practical or not, just like how someone deals with grief is something that we all do at any point of time. So I think like having that surrounding theme just made everything else feel like 10 times real.
You're going to be depressed after you watch this movie. And it's in a good way, because it's so good. And when you are in one of his movies,
a good way, depressed in a good way.
You're depressed because you know that the movie's good and the performances are there. And so like when you're in like one of this director's movies, like, you have to be a good performer, because I like that you brought that up. It goes back to sort of The Shining. Being like the long shots, and it's all about the actor and what the actor's doing in the scene. It's not about special effects. It's not about anything, but it's about them telling the story with their face and their lines. She does a fabulous job with that, and I'm glad that you brought up actually the dinner table scene. To me, that one's always stood out. And actually, I've kind of gotten some verbal debates with people about this, so maybe I could see what you guys think about it. So in the movie, the son accidentally kills his little sister. And so the family is in grief, they're grieving, but they're having dinner together. And the mom and the son, they're kind of at odds with each other, right? So we were debating on like, well, who is actually right? Like, so who do you think is right? Because in that situation,
I really don't think anyone is right. I kind of feel like that they're giving up their point of view of it. And I mean, under the circumstances, I don't think there's a right answer for it.
I think that's fair. So my outlook at it is I sided with the mom. All right.
Why?
And the reason why I sided with the mom is because the son, he actually kills his little sister, but he never like tells anybody. He just goes to his room, leaves the car parked outside, doesn't try. Obviously, you can't help somebody who's already
because she did find out after that, right? Like she came out.
It's
she
awful.
came out.
Like,
But
she comes out and she discovers
would
it.
you say he killed her though?
I know
It's unintentional. It's an accident. But
It's an accident.
he still did it. But it was an
kill her,
accident.
though.
What I would say is like,
Can you convict him
Well, I mean,
in the court of law?
That's
Can you
not the
convict
point.
him?
That's besides the point.
But I
That's
think if
besides
you
the point.
if you trace back the events, the person in most control of the preventables of the whole thing happening is the son.
The person driving
But
the vehicle.
I do think, like, the same political answer is, like, in that scene, in that moment, like,
there's a lot going on.
neither of them were in the right, because they're both shelled, they're both dealing with trauma, and they're expressing it in a way where it's just kind of like, adding water to the oil thing.
Expressed in a
But-
very real
just
way.
Yeah.
Very
They're
real.
blocking
Yeah.
each other.
But you're right. Like, if we come down to it, like, I've always thought, like, yeah, the person in control of the most things that led to that outcome was the son, and in multiple ways, even just going to the party, or the allergies, not so much his stuff, but even just like the way that he handled like everything else and stuff. He was very selfish about the situation. But at that age, you are, so it's also hard to kind of say, and like, oh yeah. And as someone who, he obviously probably has trauma and feels super guilty by it, telling him like, hey, it's your fault, it's nothing good comes out of that. But it's a very real moment, it's a very real dynamic. Like, you would think that would happen between a family, that they get torn apart by this shocking event. And also one of those things that, like, I did not expect it happening.
No.
So
that
it's a
scene,
shocker.
that scene
That's a
is
shocker.
wild.
And the fact that they actually show it.
Yes, they do.
That's
show
a
it.
shock. I
Kristen?
think we're. I didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't.
I remember
I'm not
being-
gonna. I'm not gonna put it on here because I was like very hesitant. I
I'm
was
just
like,
kidding. I'm just kidding.
not just because it's a spoiler, right? But more so because it's definitely a scene to where you got to get prepared. I just, when it comes to like certain horror
can't
scenes,
get
I
prepared for
don't
that.
know, but like, okay, maybe I said that wrong, but like, I don't want to spoil that moment because you're in that moment, you don't expect it. It comes at you randomly, and you just do not expect it at all. So, but yeah, I'll leave it at that.
It's heavy. It's a heavy one.
Yeah, that was.
But thank you for indulging me. I was outnumbered in that discussion, so I thought I would bring that discussion here to see what you guys thought about it.
I also think, like, even the ending of this movie, it's also something like
That's
it
wild.
goes to a
Wild.
whole other it
level.
goes to a whole other level. But it was in a, no, it's not a good way, but it's like the movie went from the super realistic contained environment that after those variables are eliminated as part of the plot, then you dive into this, even darker and deeper world that he crafted by, rituals and followers and all that stuff. At that point, it's like, I'm here for the ride. Like, I've already experienced like the spooky stuff, and then you enter in this trance of like, shit, like,
You can't look away.
yeah, like it's like, well, I know the movie's about to end, but like, how does it end like this? And yeah, it ends like this. So,
It's a happily ever after.
yeah, and that's when you kind of understand like the signature, the MO of Ari Aster, and I think he's very talented, and I think this was definitely the movie that ignited like just a new era.
Yeah, I kind of feel like that. I totally agree. I mentioned it already at the beginning, but I kind of feel like we need to. I know this is probably, I should bring this off camera, but maybe we gotta like react to watching a horror movie this maybe this coming month.
Which one?
Watch something where we'll talk about that off camera, but that's just an idea, a little idea where
Take a camera inside of a theater.
No,
Great idea.
No. What I meant was like a past film. We just watch it here, watch it with you guys, our YouTube fans and everything, and just react it with us. Maybe we'll try to describe a scene because obviously we cannot show it because of copyright issues, but definitely definitely an idea there because there's a lot of movies that Kristen has not seen. But the good thing is, we got the buddy system. Then you got your husband here, so we're good. We got you covered.
It's just brainstorming. We're not committing to anything.
How about this? We'll tell you to look away.
I'll give you a short list.
Yeah, but that's just a little thought for
I like it.
I'd be curious to see if we do that. If it would we do like a classic film from like the 70s, 80s, or if we're doing like a modern good horror.
Let's do an older one. Older ones are more like digestible because like
okay, The Exorcist.
No.
Yeah, you said
we already talked about it. We can't do that one.
Wait, have you seen it?
Yeah. I haven't seen the original It. I've watched the new
Whoa.
It. I love
never seen
the newer ones.
Never seen the original It.
She's her own person. I didn't know.
It's your job to film educate her. It's your job to film educate her.
I've watched the new ones and I've read the book.
Wow.
If that means anything, I read the book. And I've watched the new ones.
Yeah.
But I did not watch the original one. So
Okay, that's definitely
We can watch the original.
I just gotta warn. I'm a very stoic watcher. I don't.
You don't express
even if I'm
reaction?
scared. Even if I'm scared, I'm still kind of like this up until the point where I'm jumping. So I just gotta warn. Like if people are expecting a lot of emotion, I just sit down and like get lost in the sauce. You know. Like,
Yeah.
I'm just saying. Like that's why I've always like been wary of. Can people watch me watch something the whole time? I've never done it solo because of that reason. I know I'm like this for most. Same thing with
I would probably be very boring to watch too.
Yeah,
like, what is this?
The same thing with comedy. I warn people that like if I'm watching something of yours or like tell a joke and things, know that I am absolutely finding it intriguing and fun. I just it has to catch me off guard if I'm gonna laugh out loud. So, but it doesn't mean I'm not finding things funny.
See,
and
I'm like that.
And I'm the total opposite. I'm very subjective. I mean, I'm very picky when it comes to comedy and everything.
Well, I'm not saying I'm not picky. I'm saying like if anything, I'm actually saying that something needs to catch me like off guard, like a right hook.
I know what you're saying.
A comedic punchline to actually make me laugh out loud and things like that.
You're watching.
I'm just picky. I won't laugh if it's not funny. I won't laugh. I'm be honest.
I'm like the
She-Hulk.
I'm the worst person to watch movies with at home. I like to talk and Google the plot before because he'll try to show me. He's like, "You haven't seen this? We'll see it." I'm like, "All right." And I'm like 10 minutes in, and I'm like, "I need to know what happens like right now."
And the thing is though, she knows we're at home, and she's literally like, "What happened here? What happened here?" Like I'm all like, "Gee, oh my god!" Next time we're seeing this in a theater,
person again?
Like,
how do you know each other? Like we just watched
this in a movie theater.
We just watched Saw. I've never seen any of the Saws.
So I showed her the first one.
So I saw the first one the first time yesterday.
Like, what did this happen?
He's like, they're connected.
I thought he's dead.
How are they connected?
I thought he's dead.
Saw has an intricate plot.
Yeah. So I was just like, they keep going on. They're on their 10th one. I'm excited. Well, we're gonna actually.
How many there are?
This one I think is 10, right?
I stopped after like.
But
3.
this one's actually getting really high recognition, saying it revamped and re-brought back.
I've heard that before. I heard that on 3. No,
I've heard
good things. I've heard good
the
things.
Snyder cut.
All right, you guys ready for our last? Four truths, one lie game for Hereditary.
Get this one.
Yeah.
So is Lex, is your expression what do you call it? Is your expression like you say you don't? Is it just like that? You're just watching. You're watching just like that.
No, it's not that much.
Okay. All right. Then it'll be entertaining. Then.
I think so. I go to the restroom a lot. Like when I'm watching.
I have a lot of commentary when I watch movies, and if it's a scary movie, I just get really mad. It's like, what the gosh.
Oh yeah, I do that at home though. I yell at
the really angry
at
scary movies.
That's
stupid.
That works, man. That
is something.
Just make sure the mic's not on you when it does.
Mother.
Have you, Kristen? Have you seen Scream?
Any of them?
I don't like slashers. Like I don't like gore. I can't. That's just like a like. I just
So you haven't seen Saw?
I have seen the original.
Oh, okay. Wait,
but it wasn't that bad. That wasn't that bad.
No, the original one was not that
bad.
It
was
the
second and third one. Yeah, it's
when they get a budget.
When they get a budget.
Let me let's bring some recognition there. In watching it, rewatching because I haven't rewatching it in a minute, in a hot minute, and I was just like, you know what? There's a lot of points where like, man, this is a really low budget. Like you can just tell.
And we Googled the budget.
Yeah, and
it was wild. It was like $1 million budget, like
$1 million,
$1.2 million, and then it made like 100 million.
Yeah, and it wasn't it wasn't as gory as the other ones because the other ones I believe it's like the keys in the bottom of the acid, so you have to put your hand in the acid. They're just very and that's the thing I was telling Angela. Well, they kept making them, because it's a creativity of being stuck in that situation, I guess. Or yeah.
See, if
Nope.
I'm gonna watch a scary movie, I don't like slashers, I don't like horror movies. I like the concept, like it's cool, I get
Okay.
it. I just can't stomach it.
Okay.
It is like, but so if I am gonna watch a horror movie, it's got to be something like kind of like The Shining, where it's like more of like a thriller,
Psychological.
like a psychological
okay.
thriller, but without the scary faces. So like another movie that is very popular that I would be open to watching, like The Blair Witch Project, would be like an interesting one. That it's like, and since you reminded me, because you're talking about low budget films, that's like the lowest of lowest budget film ever that made millions and millions of dollars. So I just don't if it's like a slow burn, like kind of thriller, I don't like cheap jump scares, like that kind of stuff. But,
I'm
like,
curious, would you ever be open to watching The Babadook? Because that's not necessarily a scary face, it's like more like an animated scary face.
Yeah, and it's shadows, a lot of shadows.
There's no scary faces.
It's animated. It's like
there's a scary face. What are you talking about?
Okay, let me put it this way. Smile scared me. I watched Smile. I was totally
Smile
okay.
was really good.
I was totally okay with Smile until the very end when the Smile demon came out, and then I was like, okay, this is gonna be my nightmares for the next 2 weeks. Thank you.
And they're making a second one.
Oh, wow.
I'm not gonna see it. So
I'm gonna rethink on whether VHS has scary. Well, no, it kind of does. I'm not gonna lie. Even the first one. Never mind. VHS is really fun, guys. I'm a huge advocate for it.
We'll put together a short
Yeah,
list. It'll be like,
what
can the child Kristen
bear? I think the first two
should
should be either it or I don't care what order, but I think we need to get you into Scream. I think the first one.
Oh god,
the first one is so good. It's my favorite.
I can't think of the first Scream without thinking of Scary Movie where he likes to open
Scary movie.
With the silicone boot thing.
It's so like when what do I? My favorite scene's like when he's behind the couch and he's just like, what do you say? What are you wearing? Right? No, what do you say? What are you wearing? Or like, you can't see me. And then he's like moving his feet.
Scary Movie where he's like, you can't see me, and he sees feet poking out like all happy.
He's like, and then he puts his he's all like, oh, dog it, like
turn around.
Let's start over. And then it's funny, but at the same time though, Scream is so good that I don't get distracted of the comedy's there, right? But you get sucked into the
Matthew Lillard's in it. You'd love that.
That would be the only reason I would watch it. I know Matthew Lillard is in it. Like, what's funny is like I love spooky things and I love Halloween until it comes time to watch a scary movie, and then I'm like, no, I'm a baby. I'm like, let me just go cuddle with my bats and my vampire movies and leave me alone.
So you like Underworld?
Love Underworld. Best movie ever.
Underworld.
Twilight.
Underworld's good.
That's a whole.
We hit a nerd.
That's a whole different conversation.
Better hang on, Spider Monkey.
So are the books better than the movies?
Yes, I did. I was obsessed with the books. And
really?
And
you don't like the movies?
2006. Hated the movies. I was like, let me tell you.
Wow.
I know we're on topic real quick.
Oh,
I was obsessed
along for the ride.
with the books.
Same.
I went to the midnight release with the book in hand for some reason.
Wow.
Like I was going to reference it as I was watching the movie.
This is why you're the perfect co-host of the Nerd Colosseum.
I know. The movies and girls were like screaming when Edward comes in, and I'm watching this movie and I want to like it, and I get to the end of it. I'm with my best friend at the time, and I'm just like, that wasn't very good. And she was just like, yeah, I didn't like it either. I was like, what happened to Edward? I thought that I was excited about Cedric Diggory going to be in it. And then I was like, wait a minute, Cedric Diggory didn't have any lines. And then I'm like, that's why Cedric Diggory was so awesome and Edward was terrible. But it's not his fault. It was the script. But real quick, the reason that I don't think the movies work well is because Stephanie Meyer wrote the books for you to put yourself as the reader in the place of Bella.
Okay.
So Bella is like a very bland and boring character because you are supposed to put yourself in that position. Like she wrote it as her own like fan fiction for herself.
Yeah.
It ended up being a phenomenon. But I have not seen the last movies. I think the doll in the last movie is the scariest thing I've ever seen in my life. The Renesmee doll.
Oh,
The child,
the baby,
the human
I like
vampire
the
hybrid thing.
CGI.
I refuse
On
to
the-
watch that movie.
You
I've
don't
seen
remember?
pictures of the
The
I
doll.
doll?
remember.
Look it up. It looks like a Chucky doll.
It,
The
it is nightmare juice. Like it is the most terrifying thing ever. Like, we're talking about horror movies. We need to talk about Breaking Dawn Part 1.
What?
Yeah.
Scary for all the wrong reasons.
You know, I'm not gonna.
So
lie.
I haven't seen that
yeah.
one. I don't know what you're talking about, but I got to see this.
You
Kinda-
have to look it
piqued
up.
my interest.
It is.
Oh my god. Jeez. Like,
That was in the movie,
Yeah,
that
that's
was
a
Somebody put that
CGI.
together and
They
was
paid a
like,
lot of
this
money
is
for
a
that
great
thing.
dude.
idea.
Is this supposed?
It's supposed to be like a hybrid human vampire baby. thing.
I remember this shot. I remember this shot. Hang on, let me. Yeah, hang on.
Throw
Let me,
it up. Throw it up for everyone.
Because the kid's aging
let me
quick,
bring this
right?
up real
Like
quick,
that's
guys.
that's
Give me 1
the
second. Give me 1 second. Hang on.
It is.
Let me-
Who
Yeah.
approved this?
That's what I wanted to know.
So I remember this shot. We'll check it out right here, guys. Moviegoers out there. So I remember this shot in the film. I know it's a little bit of delay right here, but I remember this shot in here, and I
that
got.
looks normal.
See, I remember.
Uh,
That's not.
in practice though. That's a picture. In the scene, it was not normal though.
it doesn't move.
It,
like
it
a
was
normal
uncanny
thing.
valley. It was like Polar Express CGI. Like
It was.
No, the
so
baby we were
bad.
talking about has like a giant head.
no, yeah, but
Yeah.
it was
He's-
the other
he's-
one.
Oh, compared it.
Okay.
Yeah, and the other one, yeah, I just can't believe who was it? Lionsgate that approved this, right? Was it Lionsgate that did the Twilight movies? If I'm not,
I
if I'm
actually
not
don't know
mistaken.
that.
Throw that up.
Um,
Throw that one up.
Yeah,
so
if I'm
audience
not
can see that.
mistaken, let me look at the studio real quick. But yeah,
Brain in my head.
yeah, there it is right there.
I was like, who approved this? Who thought this was a good idea? Like, and I actually watched a behind the scene thing where the director was talking about his decision to use this doll because he was like, it needs to be something mythical, because it's unnatural for it to be a human and a vampire. So we wanted it to look very unnatural. I was like, well, you achieved that because it looks like a Chucky doll. Like, it looks terrifying. What? Oh, that scared me.
Just a kidding. Just a
I was
kidding.
literally been talking about the ring, and there's this little TV over here. Like, this,
It's gonna. I'm gonna turn it on.
Trauma.
I'm gonna turn on the static on. But
No, childhood trauma.
let me
instantly triggered.
correct myself. It actually wasn't Lionsgate. I don't know why I thought it was. Maybe because the Hunger Games. I don't know. Because I know the Hunger Games is
Hunger
Lionsgate,
Games
but
are great, yeah.
Summit Entertainment's the one that actually
That's
distributed that.
right,
Yeah. And I don't even know if they're. I mean, I'm pretty sure they're still making movies, but I haven't heard any blockbusters out of that studio. So it could have been just the studio budget and the fact that they didn't have any good top CGI people.
No,
I
they
guess,
turned
yeah.
Jacob into a giant wolf. It was not the. They had good
Yeah.
CGI on hand. It was just
Yeah, and
bad
that's the argument. Okay, so-
execution.
So that's the argument I had watching Twilight was the fact that it's just like a big dog. It didn't even look like a wolf.
Oh, they look terrible.
I didn't like the wolf.
What do you mean the
wolf?
No,
The
but what
wolves.
I'm saying is like that looks better than what they decided to do with the baby stuff.
Oh,
I
yeah.
wanted, yeah,
So,
so
like,
true, but
there
I
was-
wanted it more, not violent, but I guess more mean looking. I guess in a way, because it
Jeff-
just looked like a pretty dog.
Yeah, more like underworld looking.
Yeah,
yeah,
well,
yeah,
Do you
almost
think
like- yeah.
Twilight should be remade?
No.
Let's do
No.
it. Bring it
No.
up. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Bring it on.
They weren't. I mean,
It will be,
we
though.
all laugh about certain things and everything, and so I kind of feel like that because of that franchise, the way it was successful to a certain degree, because everyone saw the first one and then not too much. So I haven't looked at the box numbers yet, but I kind of feel like that for a movie like that, the way it left the world, I guess, in a cringe moment, in those cringe moments, I feel like you can do that versus like a Harry Potter franchise. You can't do because of the fact that they're all iconic.
Yeah.
Everyone loves Harry Potter. So
Well, the answer
Yeah.
is they can and they will. Like
We're so
Yeah.
off topic, but I want to continue this. If they do bring it back, it should be like a series,
Well-
like on HBO Max.
Well,
Well,
you
or-
talking about Harry Potter?
No, Twilight. Like if they're
Oh.
gonna bring something back that's a book, I think we've reached a point where movies or books, excuse me, work so much better as TV
Yeah.
shows
Mhm.
because
Yeah.
now you can achieve like cinematic looks with TV shows now
Yeah.
that you couldn't do
Yeah.
before. So I think you can
If
make
the
it work.
budget is there, though, that's what I'm saying. The budget has to be there, especially.
You didn't
for-
like the Once Upon a Time CGI?
If they're going to do anything else with Twilight, they need to do something completely separate from the storyline because the lore of Twilight is really interesting. Like the way the vampire hierarchy is and the way like they get powers. Like the vampires in Twilight are super overpowered. Like we did an episode on vampire movies and we included Twilight and
Plug it.
yeah, to our vampire episode. It's really interesting.
Yeah, I can't wait.
I
can't
talk a
wait.
lot
This
about
is-
Underworld because I love Underworld, but
Yeah. Which is your favorite movie?
One of the categories was which movie has the most powerful vampires, and we discovered that like Twilight vampires are the
Yeah.
most OP
Yeah.
thing. Like they cannot be killed.
Yeah.
Like they have supernatural powers. They're super fast. They're indestructible. They can come out in the sunlight.
They're shiny.
You know, like
I just,
yeah.
but at the same time, I just made fun of the fact that they just get shiny. They don't burn.
Skin of
They
a
don't
killer,
burn.
Bella.
Yeah, they don't burn. Well, they can die though by breaking it apart.
Yeah, you have to like break them apart
it's
and
weird.
like burn each piece.
I don't like that. I don't like the way they.
no, like
yeah,
it's very
weird.
hard to kill them.
I think it was metaphor of I think the director and the production wise, I was like metaphorically saying, well, they're cold blooded, so therefore when they break like ice in a way. I don't know. It was weird.
Whatever.
I was just like, wow, gotta be a metaphor.
Whatever.
I'm missing the message here. And
Whatever Stephanie Meyer.
yeah,
came
and
up
then
with.
Taylor, what's his name, was always warm, so he was always hot,
Yeah.
hot. I
And
guess
that was the whole. I mean, because they're dead. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, like,
I do think this is a good good time to kind of. I'm itching to find out the Hereditary.
Yes.
like, truth in the light.
Off topic. I am so
We're-
sorry.
we're-
How do we get from Hereditary to Twilight?
I definitely enjoy the ride here.
Dude, I'm digging those vampire. Yeah, maybe we got to do another revamp with us of a vampire one.
Hey, we love
Yeah.
that's like one of our
We
favorite things.
yeah
so
we
we'll be
have-
there for that.
We went on
Yeah.
a vampire marathon recently, so
Oh, nice.
yeah, we
Interview with the vampire.
We did the sequel actually.
We did.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we did that, and then Queen of the Damned,
Yeah, Queen
which
of-
I watched.
Yeah.
And we're getting so off topic.
Keep
I
going,
watched
baby.
that for
Keep
the
going.
first time in my life, like just a few weeks ago, and I looked over at Frankie, and I was like, "Why has it taken me so long to see this movie?" I
Mhm.
loved it,
yeah.
and I loved the soundtrack. It was
Yeah.
like all my vibe. I
Yeah,
was like,
the
"Look,
rock-
Dad is a rock star."
Yeah, the rock-
I'm like,
that,
"This
you,
is the coolest thing
can
ever."
tell
Like
what
it's
era it is.
cheesy,
yeah,
but I listened to the soundtrack for like 3 weeks straight. After
yeah,
watching
and see that's the
it.
thing too, because you can kind of tell like it's like the rock. That was the rock hard. Even
Yeah.
Saw had like a lot of rock music. Like
Yeah.
you can
Yeah.
It
tell
was
this
that
is
early
made.
2000s.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
That was like
definite.
it's hard. It has to have a rock song. Like
Yeah.
it's just that
That's what it
general-
was.
versus now it's like piano. I mean not piano music, but like
It's
like
different.
almost like a different kind of vibe. Granted, not every movie's like that. That's fine. But yeah, I just
I am like a rocker at heart. Like I love heavy metal, like all this kind of stuff. Like that movie was just full of like it was like directed by the lead singer of Korn. Like he had a
Oh,
cameo in it,
Whoa.
and like all these songs were
I
like
forgot
I
about
was
that.
like that's Marilyn Manson, that's this, like so I'm just like oh my god, this movie is like made for me. Why did it take me so long to watch it?
What about Little Vampire?
I love that.
I'll be honest. I fucking love that movie. I don't give it. You talk as bad shit about it.
I'm not.
But like, if anyone talks bad shit about it, yeah,
Oh, man.
go, yeah, whatever.
I,
It just-
no, no. I
love
didn't
that
expect
movie.
that one coming out.
I fucking
didn't expect
right. You
Come
didn't
on.
expect it,
I
dude.
didn't
I rewatched.
I'm not gonna lie. In this
It's been
whole
a while.
conversation, it was on my mind. I was
Dude,
like,
it was on my too, bro.
he could take
Bro.
on Edward. No, but no, I love that movie. I am giving you.
Taking me like 10 minutes.
No, yeah, but yeah, I love that movie.
Yeah, you can take on Edward. Those
And then
vampires could kill him.
The
Oh, yeah.
inclusion of the vampire.
Yeah, but Robert,
is
but
amazing.
he's not Edward no more. He's Batman, so I don't care. So it's like, yeah, he's Batman. I'm sold.
No,
I'm sold.
All right. Yeah.
we didn't watch that one recently. We watched Vamps though, which was like a cutesy vampire movie. It's got
Never heard.
Alicia Silverstone.
Alicia Silverstone
Oh.
and
What's her name?
the girl from Breaking Bad who plays Jesse's girlfriend that overdoses. I forgot her name. We just saw her at a con too. And I just forgot her
Is this
name.
like a chick flick?
It
or
is.
what?
It is a
Kristen Ritter.
cutesy
Oh,
vampire movie. Kristen Ritter, yeah, it is a cutesy vampire movie. It is like it's just like a fun, cheesy little like
What the
they,
hell?
Jessica Jones, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah, and she plays.
Yeah.
It was a cute. That was a new one that we watched. That I was just like very surprised that it was
Man.
cute.
I'm intrigued. Yeah,
There's a lot of good vampire movies out there.
yeah, like Little Vampire.
I'll have to rewatch that one. It's been a while.
It's been a while for myself. I just didn't
Okay.
think you were gonna come out swinging with that one.
Without further ado, we are
Yeah.
going to have our Hereditary.
Yeah,
Yeah, we talked about vampires for about
About-
20 minutes, I would say.
I forgot what got us here, but like, yeah,
I don't even remember. Oh, she didn't agree with the books. Remember that?
no, but
No,
we
we
went
talk-
into planning like a live reaction.
I said that I'm a spooky lover until it comes to horror movies, and I
Oh,
only
yeah.
like vampire movies, and that's what.
That's what
Oh,
brought it
yeah.
up. She brought up vampires, and we're like, "Do you like Twilight?" And then that's when she went on a rant. See,
I'm not the only one that goes on a rant.
No, I mean I didn't say that. I was just saying I've enjoyed the ride. It's we're cross country now, so, so it's like
Yeah.
We have backpacked.
but also
across
I have been itching because the Hereditary one is the one that I think I know the least like fun facts
All right,
about. I
let's
think.
do it.
We have to get this one
All right,
right.
All right.
Let's do
And
it.
thank you for sticking with us this long, guys. But we've had consistently at least three people watching us. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you.
Thank you,
And
everyone.
put a comment down below because this will be our last. We're gonna end the show right after this, and yeah. So if you have any comments or you just want to ask a question or just ask us like you already did with The Shining, let us know in the comments down below, guys. But Trey, without further ado,
Alrighty. So this is Hereditary. 4 truths, 1 lie.
all right.
Statement number 1. Alex Wolff, who portrayed Peter, was so immersed in his role that he would unconsciously break character and slam his head against walls, even between takes. Statement number 2. Toni Collette avoided the cast and crew during the filming of the seance scenes to maintain an authentic atmosphere of isolation and anxiety.
I could see her doing that, yeah.
Statement number 3. The original cut of the film was over 5 hours long and was initially intended to be released as a 2-part film. Statement number 4. The decapitation scene was so intense, some people reportedly walked out of the theaters or fainted during early screenings.
I think
I
that's
believe
true.
that
Yeah, I
one,
believe
too.
that because
I think I heard it.
And then the last statement, to make the film's supernatural occurrences feel grounded, real-life cult symbols and practices were meticulously researched and incorporated into the script.
gotta do it nowadays. I believe that.
I think well, you know what? I think I've picked the other ones that have been wrong, but I feel strong about the 2-part movie maybe being a lie because one of the things that I do remember vaguely is that I think this wasn't intended to be a horror movie at first. Like I think it was initially drafted as a drama movie about like family loss and dealing with. So I don't know if it was ever intended to reach the supernatural creepy stuff, but if it was initially intended as a drama movie, I've never heard of one going 2-parter.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like
I'll agree with the 2-part too.
or like a 5-hour
Yeah.
cut of like
Long.
I don't know. I just doesn't feel like it would be like Ari Aster style because he doesn't even do sequels.
Unless the second one was Midsummer. No, I'm just kidding. The
Unless it's
continuation
tied
of that.
into but I don't see his style like going to sequel. Although I know on his resume he has a movie called Beau, and then he has recently like Beau is Afraid. I don't know if those are connected. Like
I think it is.
oh, okay, maybe,
its way,
maybe
but-
I'm wrong about the
But
sequel.
it's like a sequel, but not really. It's not
Okay.
really
Yeah,
a
I
sequel.
just don't
but-
see it in him. I mean, I don't know. Everything else does to me sounds. I do remember. I think
Yeah.
the actor that plays the son. I do think I remember hearing that as a fact, like the hitting thing, because I think there's a rumor that he actually broke his nose or something like that. Not on that one scene that he broke his nose, but I think maybe he kept doing that. I don't know.
I mean, you kind of sold me on the you seem to know more about
The-
this director. So
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, it's
Is
gonna
that-
hurt if I get it wrong.
is-
It
is-
just
what
doesn't
if we-
sound
what if
like
we-
his vibe.
Is
Would
that
it
going to
be
be
farther?
the final answer?
I think
I think
so
that's fake.
too. I think so too. I'm
That's
gonna
fake?
agree.
Okay.
I will defer
I don't know.
judgment.
I don't know.
Listen, do you have
might
any
get
gut?
one.
Do you have any gut feelings though? Because you've had good
My
gut.
gut feeling was
We gotta get one.
was the kid banging his head on the wall.
Oh, okay.
So,
Yeah, that one too. Because
We
I didn't hear too much about like the movie
Yeah.
and what
yeah,
happened
but I
on
don't know
set.
enough about
Oh.
like everything else around this movie.
Yeah.
I avidly avoided this movie.
Yeah.
This was one of those movies that like
Yeah.
people were like, you should come and see this movie with me. And then they saw it and then they were like, you should not have seen that movie with me because it was terrifying. I was like, yeah, that's why I didn't go.
Yeah.
So
Do you want to go with the?
Yeah,
I'm sorry if I get it wrong, guys. I just
No,
that's
out of
good.
all of
I
them
am
though, I feel the
confident too.
strongest about this.
he's
one.
confident
I,
too.
I feel the confidence. I'm gonna
Yeah,
go.
because they're
Yeah, I
just
will
made
defer
for
to
yeah.
their
Because
judgment.
even when he did Midsummer, because they even asked him, "Will you do a sequel?" It's like, no, I don't do. I mean, I could have sworn I've heard him say he doesn't do sequels. Like they're all original ideas of like one and done. My next project,
Yeah.
my next idea that I grow.
Y'all
And
seem
I,
confident
let's
about
lock
this
it in.
director.
Let's
I
do
lock
it.
it.
Locking it in? Is
Final
that the
answer.
final answer?
Trey, don't
Yeah.
don't.
we
No,
got
don't
we
break
gotta
our
have
heart.
one.
But-
Don't break our heart.
What? Hang on, wait. I want to change it.
You guys got this one right.
We did
Yeah.
it.
So it was
Nice.
the lie was the
Finally.
film was over 5 hours long initially, and it was intended to be a 2-part film. That was
Knew it.
We got it.
that was
About-
lie. Good job, guys.
Great way.
Yeah.
All right, so before we do sign off, so we've talked about 4 movies.
Yeah.
We did The Exorcist, The Shining. Where's my brain? The Ring,
The Ring, yeah.
and Hereditary.
Hereditary.
So 3-part series coming up where these movies are going to face off against each other one-on-one. Which movie do you think stands the strongest to make it all the way to the finish line and be crowned the victor of the horror heavyweights?
The Conjuring.
Graded as like
None of the above.
graded as a movie.
It could be like on the soundtrack. It could be on the costumes. It could be on the acting. It could be on the story. It
So
could be on.
you're asking out of this, what's the best horror?
Which
movie?
one would you?
Not-
No.
not
Which one would you
well-rounded.
predict is going to be the strongest contender to
on
maybe
any given category.
to
Okay.
win at the very end? We're not going to know the categories until we actually get there and we
Yeah.
spin the wheel of chance and find out.
Yeah.
But which movie do you
Uh,
think is going to be the strongest candidate to be the winner at the very end of this?
The Exorcist.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think I'm gonna have to
Yeah.
go with The Exorcist because as a package, I mean, all these movies are packaged in a great way, in my opinion. But I think the hard part of the dilemma is going to be that all those that came after The
Yeah.
Exorcist, where there's probably going to be a link of inspiration connected to The Exorcist. So how
Yeah.
do you give it over that, right? So I
Yeah.
think as a package, I
Okay.
think the age and when it came out is going to really aid The Exorcist and kind of sticking that test of time and almost
Yes.
coming off as the one that's aged the best because it's the one of the oldest one on the list, right?
Yeah.
And
So
it stood the test of
Yeah.
time. It really
Mhm.
has. And I feel like it can go against modern scary movies and still
Yeah.
come on top.
yeah, I think that's my vote.
So we've
Exorcist
got-
as well.
We've got
Excited.
2 options we can do right now. We can figure out which movies are going to go head to head. We could just throw it into a randomizer and see what it gives us, or you guys can wait until October 7th, where you and I figure this out offline, and then we tell everybody.
Let's do the randomizer. Let's
Yeah,
Yeah.
We got it set up.
That's fun.
Can you use your phone?
Yeah. Let me get this set up.
Stand by, please.
Holding for talent. Holding for talent. And you can even, you know what? Let's let the AI decide. Go to ChatGPT.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, let's do that.
I'm
Yeah.
just gonna
Yeah.
spinning wheel and shit.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, this is the spinning wheel of
Spinning
chance.
wheel,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Match.
And if you haven't seen The Creator, by all means, check out The Creator, by the way.
Oh, that's the
Really-
new one that came out.
Yeah,
Yes,
really
it's
good.
actually really cool
With the
sci-fi.
Director of
Yeah.
Rogue One as
Yep.
the
Yeah.
subtitle.
I heard
Oh.
nothing.
Creator.
I heard nothing of this movie until I saw the trailer the other day, and that I don't remember the last time a single trailer of a movie I have never not heard anything about
Mhm.
sold me so much on like going to watch it.
Oh,
Dude,
yeah.
yes.
It's like
You need-
Terminator
Yeah,
meets
Terminator-
Rogue One.
It's Terminator,
District 9.
District 9,
I love
iRobot.
it. Yeah.
It's so crazy.
And I love his directing style. Like,
Yeah.
I love how Rogue One
Right
looks
there
and
with-
all of
yeah.
that.
And then Godzilla too. He did the first Godzilla, or the
All
the
right, so what do we
revamp.
got?
Yeah.
What do we got?
All right.
What
so
are the
the
matchups?
first round is going to be The Ring versus The Exorcist.
Yo.
Okay. What's
which
the next?
means the second round is going to be The Shining versus Hereditary.
Yeah.
Which I'm actually kind of happy about this because y'all were saying The Exorcist, but everything that I've heard about Hereditary, even though I haven't seen it, just I feel like Hereditary is like a really strong,
Yeah.
well-rounded
Yeah.
horror movie. So
Yeah.
I'm glad that they're not going up against each
Yeah.
other.
It is.
That they don't know. Maybe they will go up against each other
yeah.
in the third
Um,
round.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I'm so excited like for what the categories may be because I have different votes based on the category and that's the whole fun of it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I'm
Definitely.
super stoked. I'm already excited to see the pairings here. Like
Yeah.
I think they're good candidates to go against each other.
I'm curious
yeah.
what categories they're gonna come
Yeah,
up
what
against.
ca- yeah.
I'm pretty curious.
Interesting.
We'll
Interesting.
figure it out.
to be
You'll let us know.
We always
Coming
do it.
soon.
We randomize the categories just like we do the verses.
That's
So
awesome. That's
Nice.
a part of the fun.
Fun.
It'll be fun, and I like that it's older movies versus newer movies in both
Yeah.
of our
Yeah.
first two rounds here.
Yeah.
So we'll see if The Exorcist does stand the test of time up against The Ring.
Just like everyone else, we'll have to stay tuned in and
Yeah.
catch that.
Yeah, definitely, guys. Check out the new upcoming episode, live episode. I think we should do another live. I believe so.
yeah,
I
this
know-
was great.
yeah,
So
yeah.
this episode is going to premiere for us October 7th on our channels.
Yep.
And then every week after that, we will do a versus a winner and then move on until October 30th, we'll figure out who's going to win this 4-part series.
Nice. And check it out, guys, on the Nerds Colosseum podcast. We will not be posting this on the Alamo City podcast. It will be on their platform and everything. Just check it out.
Like, share, subscribe.
Yeah, like, share, subscribe to us on our Alamo City Movie Talk page. And if you stuck with us this long, which I'm surprised if you did, because I'm excited. I mean, to be honest, I am surprised because there's a lot of debate going because of the fact that we went all over the place, and I'm glad that you did, because we stay consistently.
I think the next one's going to be fun once we actually start getting into comparing. There's going to be a lot of opinions and a lot of like, no, I don't agree with you. Yeah, I agree with you. And I'm really curious to see what we kind of end up like fighting about. I really want to see what that happens.
Great. Yeah, we're grateful that we're grateful that you guys stuck with us this long. So it definitely means something to me. I know for a fact, and it's been a while since we've done a live show like this again. I love it. I do. It's so fun. It's been a long time. It really has been a few years in person. It usually be live or just virtual. I'll see you on the little thing. You'll see us on the thing. But yeah, it's definitely a different experience.
Different energy, different vibe.
Yeah, definitely. But alrighty, guys, if you have not already, be sure to like, share, subscribe to us on our Alamo City Movie Talk page. Thank you so much for making us a part of your day, guys, and have a good one. Trey, you want to finish it off this?
Oh, I can't top what you just did, but thank you guys for tuning in. It's been fantastic. Follow us. We're going to be doing The Exorcist Believer here pretty soon. I'm very excited about that movie. I'll be attending it with you guys, and I'm excited to be there for sure.
Yeah.
Kristen will be there too.
I will be, working on my education.
There you go. But all right, guys, like, share, subscribe. Have a good one. Catch you later.
Bye, everyone.